Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book podcast where a lifelong comic book reader guides his friend through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me, as always, is the aforementioned newbie, Jacob Licklider. I did that the opposite direction. Jacob Licklider, the guy reading this shit for the first time.
It's not easy being green.
It's fucking. Do you write these down?
No,
because I would forget to do that. I would forget to do a new thing with each episode.
No, I don't write them down.
Also, if me and Jacob are delirious today, as you can already tell, it's early for both of us, even earlier for him. Scheduling this week was weird. As if you're following us on Twitter, we're recording this the day before this has to be out.
Yes.
So we're recording this early in the morning. I have to go help out on a production at a theater today, and then when I get home, I have to edit it and have it ready for Monday to release. So it's gonna be a fun day for me. So as always, thank you all so much for listening. I love it was stressful, of course, but I love just sitting down to actually put the time into making this work.
Yeah.
There's a chance that we might not have even been able to get this out on time, but scrambling to get this done, that's part of the fun, I guess, isn't it?
We got it. We got lucky. We got so lucky.
We got weirdly I mean, even then, we're on a time crunch this morning. I have to leave by a certain time, so
we still have a decent amount of time to discuss things.
But
what are we discussing today, Joey?
Oh yeah, today we're fucking okay. Today we're talking about Green Lantern. We're talking about Green Lantern solo books for the first time. The famous starting point that everyone recommends with the Jeff Johns run. We're talking about the individual volumes, Rebirth and No Fear, covering Green Lantern Rebirth 1 to 6, Green Lantern 1 to 6, and what is it? Green Lantern Secret Files and Origins. Is that it?
Yeah, Secret Files and Origins. I think 2005.
The story's called Flight. Odds are, if you have an individual volume of Rebirth or No Fear, it's included in one of those, because for some reason it gets printed in both, in versions of both. I don't know. It's weird. But
it makes sense to be in Rebirth, and I can explain why when we get to it. But
it's also included in versions of No Fear, which I find interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
But for us today, we're not reading from the trades. We are reading from the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns Omnibus, Volume 1. So as far as the order that we'll be covering it all in, it'll be in the order that the Omnibus has them covered in. So we did also read Green Lantern Core Recharge, because that's included in the Omni. We won't be covering that in today's episode, but just it's there, and we'll probably mention it a few times. So there's that.
I have...
Mostly because one of our Twitter questions is about Green Lantern Core Recharge.
And I have thoughts.
Yeah, so let's dive into it with our non-spoiler section, as always. Jacob, reading Green Lantern comics for the first time, specifically these 2 volumes, what's it about? What's going on? What did you think?
Okay, so I'm going to have the kind of controversial opinion that Green Lantern Rebirth, so it's a 6-issue miniseries. I'd argue is just meant to reset the status quo for pre-Death of Superman Green Lantern. Because
to be fair, at the time this was published, it was a solid decade plus since it had happened, so it wasn't quite the status quo.
Yeah, but it was. We need.
It's almost like saying Under the Red Hood, brought us back to the status quo of Jason Todd being alive. Some time had passed.
I'd argue that's a bit different because Under the Red Hood gets rid of Jason as Robin and brings him back as Red Hood, whereas this is Jeff Johns wants to reset Hal Jordan as a Green Lantern. And
keep in mind, as Rebirth does talk about, Hal Jordan, even before he had gone all Parallax and Emerald Twilight had happened and all that, even before then, Hal had been changing because of Parallax. Obviously, we'll talk about that more in spoilers, but even then, Hal had been changing as a character for a very long time, and he's status quo as you're referring to, that Jeff Johns gets Hal Jordan back to here, is still even way before Death of Superman, I'd say.
Yeah. No, but what my point is that people say Green Lantern Rebirth is the Green Lantern entry point.
I mean, here's the thing. I have not seen anybody say otherwise ever.
I would argue it might be more effective to start
With no fear.
with no fear. Like,
I could see that. I could see that. But even then, I would say Rebirth does a good job of catching the reader up on everything that has gone on since Hal Jordan died, or even leading up to Hal Jordan dying.
I suppose, and I mean, Rebirth did do some good things. It made me care about Guy Gardner.
I knew it would happen. Here's the thing. Knowing that this was in the schedule for Fresh Face for the longest time, I knew it was going to be here for episode 18. And Guy Gardner is like a genuine character here and everything.
Yeah, he
All
has.
those times that you bitched about him in previous things that we've read, I'm like, just wait, Jacob, just wait. He's an ass now, and he's still an ass, but he's a lovable ass now.
They've softened him. I'd also say this is interesting because these are like the fourth and fifth like Jeff Johns things we've read, if I'm counting right. Wait, no,
Yeah. Well,
fifth,
do you want to count
fifth
the
and
Throne of...
sixth.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Well, wait, no, because we had the two League volumes, the two Aquaman volumes, plus Throne of Atlantis, if you want to count that as two. So this
so,
would arguably be 7 and 8.
yeah. Okay. My point is we've read a lot of Jeff Johns.
True.
Um, but what's
Which I guess just does go to show that, Jeff
he's
Johns.
left his mark.
Oh yeah, and the fact that like so many people say like, a good starting point for this character is the Jeff Johns run, like it happens for so many characters for a good reason, I'd
And
say.
I think that's because Johns excels at establishing character. I think
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
necessarily. I don't necessarily know how well he does growing characters and growing plots.
I think this run specifically may have you see him in a different light
Yeah,
as far as character
Mage.
development goes, because if you missed last episode, we are doing 3 episodes of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. We're going up to the end of Sinestro Corps War with episode 20, so stick around for all that. Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see like how he handles character development in your eyes from this point.
Yeah, well, because um, it feels like um, everything is an action movie, basically.
Mm,
Like the first volume, No Fear, in particular. And I don't mean this entirely as a criticism, because I think it really works for No Fear. Right, we're going to establish Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern, solving problems. No Fear is a very simple story. Um,
mm,
Rebirth is a bit more complicated and
a little bit.
bit messier because it's a bit more complicated. Oddly enough, I think it should be just a little shorter than it is. Um,
More on that
but
later.
I really like that Johns can establish a character and get you to understand them as a character,
Mm.
and set them up really well. Now, hopefully, he'll continue to do that. Uh, I should probably say, I going into this, I knew that this was the run that everyone talks about for Green Lantern. Um, I knew that this was the run that introduced all the different colored rings. Um,
Which I think you discovered on a Fresh Face Comics episode. I can't remember which one.
yeah.
I think I told you
Um,
about that like on an episode.
I think it was probably like the reign of the Superman, or like somewhere in that area.
Oh, I think it was on Doomsday, right? Because I think I had mentioned that Green Lanterns were like the only lanterns at the time.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think it was on Doomsday. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Um, I also think it's. I also think we should also perhaps talk just briefly, um, about the fact that this is also uh, a run that's drawn by so many different artists. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Definitely.
Rebirth and Recharge have one artist each, but then No Fear throughout the 6 issues there are there are like three different artists working on it,
Hmm.
all with very different styles. Kind of,
Yeah.
which I think kind of helps the idea of, right. Let's establish an idea of here's what this new Green Lantern series is going to be, because this is what the fourth just Green Lantern title. that was just Green Lantern
I
third or
believe so. Yeah,
fourth?
I think this is volume 4. Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah. Also, I was surprised. I was expecting more of just Hal Jordan. Um, I
Hmm.
wasn't quite expecting as much of all the other Lanterns.
Well,
Um,
what these early issues are doing at least is establishing the return of the core as a whole. Because remember, the core had been eradicated too because of
yes.
Hal motherfucker Jordan can't fucking speak this morning. Let's never do a morning recording again. I swear. Oh my god, I can't record in the morning. So fuck. All right. Yeah, but yeah, no, so, yeah. So it's reestablishing the core, bringing all these other lanterns back in. I think Kilowog specifically hadn't been seen in a very long time. Yeah. So it's So I think you're mostly referring to how many other lanterns are in Rebirth, though, right?
Right. Because John's there.
It's John, Guy, Kyle,
Kyle,
Kilowog. Yeah, they're all there.
and then the
Um.
Justice League is also there,
Yeah.
and so is the Justice Society. Yeah,
Mhm.
because Rebirth. I will warn you, Rebirth is a book where there's a lot more DC Universe than I was expecting. Like I was expecting just to be focused on like the core and reestablishing the core. Rebirth kind of threw me for a loop because Batman's here and Superman's here and Wonder Woman's here
And
and the
Green Arrow.
Flash and Green Arrow.
Yes,
Um,
our first properly characterized Green Arrow on Fresh Face Comics. Um.
Also, this also just feels early 2000s. Like
Oh yeah, yeah. Which is weird because this is the first early 2000s comic we're reading on Fresh Faced.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but like just the sensibility, like the way it's written, it's like this was written in the early 2000s.
Mm.
Like that's just how I. It's hard to put a finger on it, but there is something so emblematic of just the early 2000s throughout every page of this book. Um,
Mm.
Part of it might also kind of be the art style because the early 2000s was really when like things started to go
Oh
digital art
yeah, yeah,
over
definitely. Yep. And you can
drawing.
tell everything is very well. I would say this is really the era, or I mean, well, 90s as well. But where certain artists, where there wasn't like a standard for comic artists, like not all comic art, had to look a certain way.
Yeah, and
Because like
it
because like 70s 80s even before them, but like let's use 70s 80s as an example. Most artwork, let's say the standard is like George Perez art. A lot of art should look like that.
yeah. And this
Here is where a lot of artists become really individualistic, where they can really play around with their styles because they have that freedom of going digital.
Well, yeah, and
So
just the way it's colored because it's digital looks so
yeah.
different.
Oh, definitely,
And
definitely.
I imagine it took some time to really get like digital coloring down
Mm.
versus yeah standard coloring.
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
Uh,
there are some like late 90s, early 2000s comics that I've read where you're just like, "Ooh, you were experimenting here, weren't you?"
you were trying to do something. You were trying to do something that you
Yeah.
didn't do.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So
Uh,
yeah, that's interesting that you should point that out. Um, but yeah, what else non-spoiler section? Anything else big?
Here's the thing. I think that covers it because of how simple a lot of John's writing just is. There's it's all I can say is I mean I'd recommend it. I would. But like just be a fair warning, you may not gel with Rebirth as much as the hype because it seemed to be hyped. Like Joey, you said everyone recommends this as the starting point.
Yeah, yeah, literally everyone. Like nobody will tell you otherwise. Like,
And Rebirth is good. It's good.
mhm.
It just isn't perfect.
Yeah. I mean, you also keep in mind, like you feel this way, and you had the added advantage of seeing the destruction of Coast City.
Yeah.
From an earlier episode that we covered. It's really interesting because, like, with that even added context, even, that you were still sort of thrown by this. But
Yeah,
yeah,
very thorough.
more on that in spoilers. But before we get into spoilers, I want to cover just some Twitter questions that I don't think have a place in the regular
Yeah,
discussion. To have a
oddly
regular
enough.
discussion. Um, First off, coming from Ben/Gwen at NBIDOC. Always love that app.
It's like
NVIDIOS?
NB idiocy, like
Uh,
non-binary idiocy is the joke.
yeah, okay, you're right. Anyway, I'm stupid. Okay, Ben says, what lantern corps do you both believe you'd most likely end up in? This has no place in this discussion because the other lantern corps at this point in the John's run do not exist yet.
They don't exist yet.
They don't exist yet. Do you know what the color spectrum is and what their emotional plane
I
is?
know some of them. I know red is rage, orange is greed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yellow I think has really its establishment here. They start to establish it.
Yeah. You see, well, yellow has always been the thing.
Yeah, but like they establish.
Yellow is fear, green is willpower, blue is hope, indigo is compassion, and violet. The star sapphires are love. So
Okay.
a very aggressive love,
Very aggressive.
as you will see. Uh, what do I believe I'd end up in? I don't know, Jacob. Any idea for yourself?
I'd like to say blue or indigo.
Fair
I'd
enough.
like to say blue or indigo, but those are like two of the positive ones.
Yeah. Honestly, I like to believe I'd end up in green. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
There
know.
needs to be a BuzzFeed style quiz.
Yeah, there does. Yeah, there does. We're gonna do a BuzzFeed quiz next time on Fresh Face Comics. What Lantern Corps do we belong in? Mason at the GD 256 says, we're going to go with his second question here because I do think there is a place for his first one. Says, what is your favorite color of the core other than green? And what is your least favorite? How come? I think for me, I guess if we're talking like most interesting, as far as like the different color cores, God, I always loved the way that John's developed upon the Indigo tribe in the New 52 Green Lantern stuff, which we will get to eventually. I love what he does with them there, and I don't know. I think they're the most interesting to me personally. One my least favorite, one I am least interested in. God, it hurts to say because John's put so much time into all of these different cores, and they do all have their own sort of flavor. And things to enjoy about them. But for me, I'd say orange. I love Larfleeze as a character. I love what the Orange Lantern Corps is, or not even core, just what the Orange Lantern is. But no, it's great. I just probably not. If I were to like write Green Lantern characters, I'm like, I wouldn't immediately jump to, doing something new and interesting with the Orange Lanterns because there's not much wiggle room, I'd say. Not that you can speak on this question at all, Jacob.
Yeah,
but any thoughts?
Well, all I know the Black Lanterns is the thing, and that's like zombies.
Yeah.
So that kind of predisposes me to not liking them because I am not that big a zombie fan.
Gotcha.
Because of oddly enough, the early 2000s to like early 2010s zombie craze just
Play Last of Us, man. Here's the thing. Last of Us is the thing that like made me come around to the zombie medium. It wasn't like Walking Dead or anything. I haven't even gone around to like checking out Walking Dead, but I don't know. Last of Us is what did it for me. Because for the most part, like zombie stories aren't about the zombies. It's the zombie stories that are about zombies that I think lose interest for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's a whole discussion for another day.
Yeah. And then lastly, Rachel at Chell's Seashells says, just how green is the lantern? Really? Pretty fucking green. It's like the only I could flip to any random page in this entire like almost over 1,000 page Omni and like green will be there. He's pretty fucking green.
Yeah.
He's
I'd hate to be reading this colorblind because all the green.
Yeah, it's very green. But yeah, so the others, I think there are places to cover later on. Let's get into this with our spoiler section. Consider this your official spoiler warning. Let's get into Green Lantern Rebirth. So we kick off on this little prelude thing. It says the day before.
So would this have been published in like? Where would this have been published?
I don't know actually.
Like
maybe in a free comic book day thing.
Maybe because
I don't know actually.
This is what like we're in what 2004 2005. I think.
I believe so. Let me just make sure of that.
we're fairly early.
Yeah, '05.
Yeah, so we are pre-New 52
So
by
if
a
this
lot.
was, hang on, making sure I have my timeline right because so Green Lantern Rebirth was okay. No, sorry, this was late '04.
Late '04. Okay.
Late '04. So it could have maybe been a Free Comic Book Day thing because Rebirth started publishing in October. Free Comic Book Day is May. It could have been around then, or
It could be, and
maybe just
I'm
a
sure
special they
Johns
released
had
Free Comic Book Day.
had ideas for reviving the Green Lantern because it's clear Johns loves this character.
Oh yeah, like desperately loves this character.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will say this is a very nice little prelude with one Kyle Rayner coming across an alien being
now
and
what? So
basically
we saw Kyle Rayner briefly in Doomsday when we covered that, right?
briefly, very
Yeah,
briefly,
he
he
was
didn't
there in
do much.
what? Not Hunter Prey, Doomsday Wars, right?
Doomsday Wars, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Oddly enough, the amount of Green Lantern stuff that was in specifically the
The Death
two
of Superman
Doomsday
arc.
miniseries.
Yeah, well, Doomsday miniseries plus the whole just Death of Superman arc as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, Guy Gardner's constant appearances. There are a few Hal Jordan appearances in there. Yeah, it's just
Coast City blowing up.
yeah. There's just a big Green Lantern presence throughout Death of Superman. I think it's just kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah. So we see Kyle Rayner here being attacked. His ring warns him of Parallax. That Parallax is coming. Now, did you know what Parallax was before this?
I knew it was the thing that made Hal Jordan go crazy and
Mhm.
do several genocides.
Now, you've seen the 2011 Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern
I
movie, right?
have. I
Okay.
have.
Do you remember the giant gas cloud thing that was Parallax in that?
No.
That was supposed to be Parallax.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay.
That was that, yeah. Um, so yeah, so then we go over to to Hal Jordan here, um, who is watching a plane fall out of the sky, which is great. Hal wants to go help it. We see that he is bonded with the Spectre. The Spectre sort of denies this. And the Spectre sort of saves the plane himself. Now, the Spectre as a character, did you know the Spectre at all?
I didn't. So this was all very what? Like
Okay,
what's
I forget. Did you watch the 2014 Constantine series?
no, not really.
Okay, they did Jim Corrigan on there,
Yeah.
and they teased some Spectre stuff
Yeah,
there.
I had seen I think I saw like the first two episodes maybe.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, so this is the Spectre. This is the Spirit of Vengeance. This is basically what happened to Hal Jordan post death. He bonded with the Spectre, so Hal Jordan can still exist, but not without its cost. So
Yeah, and then it's gonna be a recurring thing.
yeah.
It sort of sets up this internal battle of ooh, Hal kind of wants redemption.
Mhm.
Um, and he doesn't believe in vengeance, which is interesting. Um, I would there have been like a I don't know Hal Jordan the Spectre comic that was
No,
coming
oh
out?
no, no way.
No.
Probably he was just more of a background character playing around every now and then.
Uh
Yeah. But yeah, so we just get this little like establishing couple pages of what Hal and the Spectre's relationship is, and then we get this really nice last page where we see Hal's inner struggle with Parallax that happened before the Spectre. So
and
yeah,
I think it's implying that it's still happening.
yeah, that Parallax is still like somewhere within us, within him. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but it's the beginning. Ooh,
the beginning,
spooky.
and then we go into Green Lantern Rebirth #1 with I love this cover. I really love this cover. It's so different. Like you would expect like the first issue of Green Lantern Rebirth to be like this big triumphant Hal Jordan pose, but no,
Yeah,
it's this rather sinister looking Hal Jordan, with the Spectre there, and
and
you
Parallax
see Parallax's
reflected in the
reflection.
lantern.
Yeah, I love that. Um, should we mention it now? Ethan Van Sciver does art on this, and Ethan Van Sciver's
We're
a
gonna
piece
have
of
to
shit.
mention it. Yeah,
Ethan Van Sciver's a piece of shit. I mean, what else is new?
and a con man.
Yeah.
And
Um,
several good.
See, here's the thing. I didn't know Ethan Van Sciver was a piece of shit for a long time. I think it was only just late last year. I
But
think.
last year I was like, hey, yeah. So
Well, I forget what he did. What was it?
Um, what hasn't he done? He's conned a lot of people out of money, said a lot of racist shit, a lot of sexist shit. He's very much the
he's still
face.
doing those things.
Yeah, he's very much.
I remember what it was now. Maybe it's not a good time to mention it, but but I remember what it was now. Jeff Johns posted a picture that he was hanging out with Ethan Van Sciver. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And you shared that with me. You're like, hey, Jeff Johns is hanging out with the Comicsgate guy. I was like, the Comicsgate guy? That's Ethan Van Sciver. I had no clue. But
Yeah.
then I found out. So
Also, apparently can't write this shit.
For a while, I was blissfully unaware of his shittiness.
So yeah, just a fair warning.
The art is amazing, but it is
drawn by a very shitty person.
Yeah.
Someone who has luckily been blacklisted by DC, it seems, because
yeah, that's always nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, Blackest Night. I
will be open this first issue. Yeah.
Oh, right, because there's also the event Blackest Night.
Yeah. You can't see this is the story Blackest Night, and say like, oh, get the omnibus. It's like 76 issues.
76 issues.
When we do Blackest Night, we will not be doing the omnibus. Just letting you guys know that now. We are not doing the omni. So.
Because that would be like what, a 4-hour episode at least?
Oh my god, that would be horrible. You're being fucking generous with 4 hours.
I said at least.
Oh man.
But yeah, so we open with
a spaceship crashing, and it's very clearly meant to allude to how Jordan's origin, right? How he became Green Lantern.
Right.
You knew? Did you know before this? Because I know they redo it at some point here.
Yeah, I knew it. I had seen the movie, and they did it there.
Yeah. Did you know that Tamura Morrison plays Abin Sur in that?
Really?
Yeah, that's him as the alien that gives Hal his ring. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then Taika Waititi is Hal's friend in that.
Oh yeah.
I think that character shows up in here somewhere, right? In No Fear.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, just little thing. And yeah, so his spaceship crashes. Inside the spaceship, these two kids find it. Kyle Rayner is there, and he tells them, "Don't be afraid. You can't be afraid." And we see that he
can't get his ring off, which is, again, this is such an intense sequence to open on.
Oh yeah. But we see that Kyle brought something with him. It is this coffin here, this coffin back here. We don't know what's inside it yet. Yeah, so he brought a coffin with him. Meanwhile,
and the narration basically tells us, that Kyle Rayner, I was one of the last Green Lanterns and the first to know what fear really is.
Oh, so good. Yeah, so we go over to Carol Ferris, who you only knew vaguely from Return to Superman.
Yeah, vaguely from Return to Superman, and the fact that she's Hal Jordan's general love interest.
Mm-hmm. Which, as you will see, you see a bit of it here, but as you will see, Johns, I think, treats Carol very differently from the typical comic love interest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was also played by Blake Lively in the Green Lantern movie, which is how her and Ryan Reynolds met, which I love.
I think that is something good came out of that movie.
Exactly.
But yeah, Carol was at Coast the Ferris airspace.
Or Coast City used to be.
Because there was a bit of an explosion,
just explosion. a little bit. Yeah. So she's there. She finds the plane with H. Jordan on it. Meanwhile, we go over to the Bronx, and John Stewart is here with Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner here is no longer a Lantern and no longer has a power ring, and is instead like a monster or something.
Called the Warrior, and Okay,
we're going to go to our next Twitter question here. Great time to bring this up. Jamie at Jamie_season7 says, I maybe controversially think it's not the best starting point for Green Lantern. Like with Hal Jordan being the Spectre and whatever the hell the 90s did with Guy Gardner, there's just so much going on right from the start. Now, I know you agree with this sentiment for the most part.
Yes. Especially because it kind of expects you to know what's going on with Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. The Guy Gardner thing always throws me for a loop because I've never read anything else with him like this. So Yeah, I
as
don't
far as
know.
I can tell, it's such a '90s idea, right? Like,
Uh,
because you see the design later on of the warrior,
the warrior.
which is, oh, that is '90s.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, fucking wild.
Like on the next page, you see it, and it's I don't how do I just
just, just don't worry about it. We're moving on.
we're moving on.
They,
They talk about trust and trusting Hal. This is actually my first real experience with John Stewart in any large capacity
oh shit,
outside
that's
of
right. I'd
outside
completely
of
forgotten that.
outside of some vague memories of the Justice League cartoon.
Mhm.
Uh,
It was played by Phil fucking Lamar.
yeah, with Phil Lamar.
I love Phil Lamar.
That show has the entire DC animated universe has amazing casting.
Do you remember when Phil Lamar was on Lucifer?
He was on Lucifer,
He
wasn't
was.
he?
He was there for an episode. Yeah, yeah. Wasn't he the killer in that episode? I can't
Yeah.
remember. I think he was. Yeah. And it just got sidetracked there. Left Phil Lamar. Anyway. Yeah. So we go inside the game. Hal is there. He joins them. Nice to see them just sort of hanging out
I do
until.
like that John doesn't take any of Guy Gardner's shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's always sort of their relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just if you ever decided to like take the time to just read Green Lantern Corps rather than the main Green Lantern title, like John and Guy are like the stars, and they're amazing.
Yeah. Um, and but yeah, so like Hal arrives and he looks kind of older.
He
Like,
does. Yeah, yeah, you can see that in the way that Skyver draws him.
yeah, and
Um,
he,
but yeah, when he sits down, all these people start coming up to him, and they start trying to like confess to Hal.
yeah, he's basically a priest. Guy
Yep.
admits to committing tax fraud.
which no one is surprised by.
No one is
Like,
surprised. And
no one
Hal's
is
just like,
surprised.
right, I can't deal with this. I'm out.
Yeah, and
Um,
he just
and we cut over
he
to the
leaves.
first good surprise of this miniseries.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So Green Arrow's here, and Mia is here. Do you know Mia at all?
yes,
Do you?
I do know that like it's his daughter.
In the show Arrow, she's his daughter.
Oh well, that's all I know.
Yeah, no, in this she's just another in a long line of Speedies and
A
Artemis
lot.
and Red Arrows and whatever the hell you want to call them. Yeah. So yeah, they made her his daughter, I think, in the show. I never watched that far in the show, but I know they did that, and I don't know. I think that was like not long after I dropped off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
again, Arrow is a weird show because
Look,
despite
here's the thing. Fuck, just I'm not gonna go on an Arrow rant, but I just think fucking Felicity is the problem with that show.
I mean, I like Felicity as a character, at
I
least
like
in the
her
seasons
until they start putting her and Oliver together.
yeah, and then try to make her Barbara Gordon Light.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, even then, like she's sort of like an Oracle role early on, and like they fucked that up. Like I don't know.
I
Whatever.
don't know.
Fuck.
I think that show is a
Discussion for
mess.
another day. Discussion for another day. Anyway. Yeah. So we're here. Black Hand makes his way here. Did you know Black Hand at all? I'm assuming
No,
you did. You didn't know Black Hand.
no.
Okay. Well, this is pre Blackest Night, Black Hand. So Black Hand was just like sort of like a regular old supervillain pre Blackest Night. So for me, I remember this is weird because I knew Black Hand as like the zombie Blackest Night guy, and here he's just not.
A guy.
Yeah. So
Okay. I love that Johns clearly likes Green Arrow as a character. Like
oh yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's a
Sorry,
character
go
who's
ahead.
always been billed to me as Bruce Wayne light, and I'm
Mm.
like, I don't feel that. I don't
No,
feel.
not at all. If you're gonna compare him to anyone in the Bat family, he's like Dick Grayson more than anything.
Yeah, I can see that, but it's like, yeah, he's also cold because he has exploding arrows, and because Black Hand tries to steal Hal Jordan's ring, which Oliver has been keeping, which I think is a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
And he's
think is a
trusted
nice
with it.
touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
especially since I know that the run in the '70s with the My Word is Junkie issue
Yep.
was
Yeah.
them traveling the country.
Yep.
So yeah,
But yeah, so Ollie stops him. He shoots an arrow through Black Hand's hand, which I like saying. Yeah. So Hal shows up here. Hal what does he actually? Yeah. So he comes here. He comes to see Ollie.
He
And he
becomes the Spectre. He has to
comes
deliver vengeance,
mhm.
and well,
And tells Black Hand to live up to his name.
yeah, and blows off his hand
Yeah.
because that's that is Cole Hal Jordan as the Spectre. Um,
See, here's the thing: is I wouldn't even say that's Hal in that moment. That's just the Spectre taking over completely.
yeah, I suppose. Um, but everyone treats it as Hal Jordan being in control of his actions when he's
Well,
kind of
yeah,
not.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like,
Um, so yeah, so Hal leaves, or the Spectre leaves. They both leave. And um, Ollie takes the arrow out of the wall, picks up the ring, which now has blood on it. Which I love that little touch, and I love
yeah,
those couple panels sort of zooming in on it.
there's some great imagery, just very evocative imagery, which I think enhances what's a rather simple story.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, but then we cut over to New York City, in a bar called Warriors,
Which
where
is, I know you don't know this at all, but it's meant to sort of um meant to sort of be like I think if I have my timeline correct. Wait, I do not. Never mind. Forget everything I just said.
it's
Sorry.
it's a Green Lantern themed bar with
Yeah, Green Lantern themed bar with statues there of Hal, Guy, Kyle, Kilowog. We even see I'm assuming it's Ganthet over there. It could just be any old Guardian though. Um,
yeah, all three
we
everyone
also see an Alan Scott statue later on, which I like.
everyone but Guy is in a Jason Todd Robin style tube.
Yep. And of course, Guy isn't, and his statue seems to be bigger than everyone else, even
Yeah.
Kilowog's.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
Guy Gardner has the ego. Um,
Oh, so did you know Kilowog at all before this?
he was in the movie, wasn't he?
He was in the movie. Do you know who he was played by in the movie?
Who was he played by in the movie?
Fucking Michael Clark Duncan.
That is based on
And
this. That is really good casting.
here's the thing: that movie, and I'm gonna say this a million times, that movie has amazing casting. The whole thing just sucks though.
Yeah, like wow.
Yeah, right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah.
Yeah, so they're hanging out here. Guy starts to sort of freak out. His skin's on fire. He says, tells John to run out. And Guy explodes. So yeah.
Yeah. There is an explosion, which is okay. It's weird, and it's paired interestingly with uh some people in an airplane flying over the ruins of Coast City, which has begun to smoke, and suddenly the city's back.
Yep, the signage and all. It's saying "Welcome to Coast City." It looks like that sign was made in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city is there. Um, Meanwhile, over in Bel Rev prison, we get a brief little tease for something that's going to become important later on in No Fear. We see Hector Hammond. Do you know Hector Hammond at all?
I know he was in the movie and they teased him at the
He
end.
was in the movie. He was played by one of the Skarsgårds, wasn't he?
I think so.
One of the Skarsgårds. I can't remember which one now. Fuck.
Yeah. All I know is that he is smart, very smart villain man with
Yes,
telepathic
that's
powers.
spot on.
Uh,
Meanwhile, at the Watchtower, I feel like I should be doing the fucking like was it William Dozier, Batman 66. The Meanwhile at the Watchtower. Yeah,
yeah.
like
Well,
one of
because
the
we jumped so many locations so many
yeah
times in
yeah.
this first issue.
Um, yeah. So we're examining Guy's body, or not his body. Well, if only it were his body. He's still alive.
Still alive, in terrible condition. Like his ribs are coming out. Um, like the warrior thingy. I don't know what it is like mutating him.
Mhm.
Um, and the Justice League is there.
We
Um,
have Martian Manhunter, Batman, Doctor Midnight. I doubt you knew Doctor Midnight at all.
no, I didn't.
Justice League International
Ah,
is his main thing.
his main thing.
Superman's here, John's here, of course, and yeah. So they're all
Down
here. They're
down on the
examining
site
Guy.
of down on the site of the explosion. Um,
This
you
is a
know.
fun. This is a fun selection of characters here. We got Wonder Woman, Power Girl, Jay Garrick, Mr. Terrific, and Wildcat back there. Yeah, Wildcat.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fun. Um, and all the
Um,
only thing that's left in from the wreckage of the explosion is the statue of Hal Jordan. Interestingly, that's right. Alan Scott's here with his daughter.
with his daughter. Um, while at the site of the newly restored Coast City, Aquaman and Flash, who I'm guessing is Wally West Flash,
Yeah, still Wally.
because Barry is still dead at this point.
Yeah, which has got to
Uh,
be weird for you because this still. I'm sure this still feels kind of recent-ish, doesn't it?
yeah,
The feel of this comic, it's yeah, it's one of the more recent ones we've done, I guess.
yeah,
And it's still Wally West.
still Wally West. I mean, it's recent-ish, but it still feels like this. It still feels older, but not older.
Mhm.
Like that. It's weird. The early 2000s have a vibe,
Yeah, yeah.
and it fits that vibe. But yeah, the big thing is that Hal's apartment building is there, um, and Batman thinks Hal did all of this. Now I love the way Batman's drawn. I don't know if I love the way he's characterized as a bit too bloodthirsty at points.
I think it makes sense in this case. Hal's been gone a long time. I think Bats has a reason to be concerned.
Yeah, but there's this whole idea that like Hal was always like this, and it's like, was he? Was he?
Mm, you have a point, but I don't think it's necessarily out of character for Batman to be skeptical like this.
Yeah. Skeptical, yes, but it reads as bloodthirsty, and it reads as bloodthirsty throughout the miniseries. Which, like, fair up until the point where we're like, okay, Hal Jordan has been redeemed because the reader knows he's been redeemed. But yeah, and we'll get to it. But John gets angry, um, uh, and Ollie's the one that has to calm him down because Ollie's here now.
Yep.
Um,
I love the way Skyber plays around with the shadows on Batman here.
Yes, all
Yeah.
the shadows just make him look like a monster. Like you have
Oh yeah.
he does do a Batman, like an Inhuman Batman cape.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. But yeah, so Ollie calms them down. There's still this animosity though, of course. But Batman says hey, face it, John, the real Hal Jordan is back, and he's bringing the past with him. And then we end the issue on this really great scene. Carol's still over here in at Ferris Air, and Hal Jordan shows up. He's just there. It's this really striking last page.
Yeah.
Hal standing in the rain in front of this plane. Oh, it's so good.
In the rain.
Yep. But yeah, so we go into issue 2, titled Enemies Within. Yeah. So we start off here. We catch up with Kyle Rayner again. He's still hanging out with these kids.
He's still injured.
Yes.
You can't get his power ring off. He's still muttering that. It's basically just a reminder that Parallax is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because Parallax is going to be our big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And we pick up right with Hal trying to flirt with Carol.
Yeah, as he does. We also get the first of a thing that Johns does a lot throughout, not just this miniseries, but throughout his whole run on Green Lantern. Is sort of like recreating classic comic scenes in sort of a new style with Hal and Carol here. We see a flashback of them.
Of what makes it look like the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Because of just Carol's wearing that sort of dress.
Yeah. And then we get another flashback to the first time they met, which is the day Hal Jordan's dad died.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Which is intense because his dad died in a plane explosion.
Yeah. That's right. You only found out about that recently, didn't you?
Yeah,
I told
fairly
you
recently.
Yeah, on an episode of Fresh Faced again. Yeah.
Because again, Green Lantern is not a character who's really in the public consciousness, nearly as much as say Superman or Batman.
Yeah, but this is like an iconic backstory. I love this. But yeah, we go back to present day then. Hal's talking to Carol. Still talking about his dad.
His dad died a hero. Um, this whole idea of, the Spectre making him afraid of his own actions, which isn't him, and that he wants to find a way back to who he was.
Mhm.
And we cut back to the Watchtower, um, where
We get a nice little interaction here between Ollie and John.
yeah, very nice interaction, just about about the nature of power. The Green Lantern rings' power. This idea that Ollie could use the ring,
Hmm.
which I fully believe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But there's a great scene about that later on. I can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, meanwhile Zatanna's here. Did you know Zatanna at all?
yes,
You did. That's right, animated
yes.
series.
And now I know her father's Atara because I read Action Comics #1.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, you got that collection. Nice.
Yes,
Very
yes. I
cool.
haven't gone further in it, but I read Action Comics #1, which was an
Wait, wait,
experience.
nice, nice. Cool. Anyway, yeah. So she's here. They're trying to locate Hal, which
And they found him, and
found him. He's
Bruce is trying to prepare for the worst, um, expecting everything to go terribly. Uh, and
also Mr. Terrific. Was that another character that you knew at all, or no?
no,
He was wasn't he on Arrow or was he on Flash?
I
He was on
don't
one
remember.
of them. I think he was on Arrow.
If he was, I don't remember him.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah,
Uh,
so he's there.
yeah,
Um,
because Alan Scott is musing over everything, which is nice that Alan Scott is included as a Green
yeah,
Lantern.
yeah, in this kind of story, yeah.
Yeah.
Because keep in
Um,
mind, like it's like Alan Scott is the first Green Lantern, of course, but also Hal is the second one ever, and
kind of eclipsed the
like
first one.
Hal is a much older character than people give him credit for, I think.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so then we cut back to Ferris Airspace again. John's just like, this is like a movie. It's like quick action scenes of getting into several different locations.
Yeah.
Uh, of Hal and Carol having their conversation about Hal still being in love with her. She's married to someone else. Uh, and then the Justice League shows up. Uh, and they are drawn very sinister. There's just this
They are.
sinister
Oh my god.
air.
I love that. Look at the fucking way Batman's drawn there. Oh my fucking god. That's evil. That is just fucking evil.
Yes,
Oh
Superman
my
looks
god.
so angry in these panels.
Yeah. I mean
Uh,
everyone does. I mean even Wally does.
yeah. Um, uh, and it's implied that Hal fixed the airfield, but not the rest of the city.
Yeah, so we don't know what actually caused that yet. Meanwhile, John sort of stands up for himself. He goes over here and what just basically attacks the League. He attacks
Yeah,
Superman.
but he with a headache. He has it's implied he has a headache.
Hmm.
Um, and while this fight goes on, the Spectre is needed elsewhere. So Hal has to leave. There's the chant that Parallax is coming. At the Watchtower, Guy is screaming. Um, and then, okay, so then the weirdest thing happens, but it leads to like for some reason one of my favorite moments that shouldn't be my favorite moment.
It's great. Yeah,
The ring duplicates.
yeah, and goes over to Guy, and it tells him that Parallax is coming. Guy Guy has the ring on, um, and says, "Oh yeah, you know what they say, Johnny boy, beware my power." And it's such a great like full page. Smug bastard is back. Look at him, just fucking look at him.
It's clear that someone likes Guy Gardner here. Um,
And it's not the reader.
it's not the reader.
It's not the reader.
Um,
Uh,
Kyle is still injured, but as he's trying to get up with these backpackers, there's a flash of yellow, interestingly, and then Kilowog shows up.
yes, Kilowog's here. Oh, I love Kilowog. Kilowog is like outside of the human Green Lanterns, of course. He's like my favorite Lantern. I love Kilowog so
He's
much.
very fun.
He's
He's such a
very
fun
very fun.
character.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Um, yeah, just a great character. He comes in. Um, sees the coffin that Kyle has with him, and let's see, what is it? Oh yeah, that's right. Down comes, this is Ganthet, right? Ganthet comes down. Haha, that's great.
Who's
Um,
and
or
in the
wait,
coffin?
is that not Ganthet? That should, hang on, am I wrong?
I don't know. Look, all it doesn't say immediately, and all the Guardians kind of look the same.
No, it is Ganthet. Okay, sorry, it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So yeah, Ganthet is here. Ganthet opens up the coffin. Inside the coffin is indeed the body of Hal Jordan, the physical body of Hal Jordan, I should say.
Yes,
The
because
one,
he's dead.
the one that still looks all evil. Which brings us
He,
into
he's
issue
he's
3.
evil because he has white hair.
Yeah, yeah, he's got
That
those sick,
is,
he's got those sick gray highlights. Yeah, so we go into issue 3. One of my favorite covers from this. I love this cover with Hal, Parallax, and the Spectre there. It's great.
yeah.
Issue
This issue
title
is,
is Yellow.
uh, which may or may not be a hint to what's coming. Uh, in the end. But yeah, we continue the scene. The art style actually has kind of shifted for this first page, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, yeah. What is one of those moments where, every now and then Johns is like, yeah, a lot of these elements haven't been used in a really long time. Let's take a moment for this inner monologue and, get to know who Ganthet is, who the Guardians of the Universe are, say what happened to the Green Lantern Corps again, just to get it all out there. And I think it works.
Yes, I think it works. And Ganthet is there to protect the body.
Kilowog is not okay with that, so he attacks Ganthet, but Ganthet is Ganthet, so he's not
Ganthet
affected.
is an all-powerful space cop thing.
Yeah, he's a wizard. He's a wizard.
He's a space cop wizard.
Space cop wizard. There we go. Yeah. So he fights back, and he's Ganthet, so he kicks Kilowog's ass. Meanwhile, what is it? Guy shows up, or no? Does Guy actually? Yeah, Guy actually gets over here.
Yeah.
Or no, he doesn't. Wait, fuck. Some of this is confusing.
Yeah. Again, this is. I think Kyle is seeing what's happening to the other
Kyle sees
lanterns.
Guy because Guy has the ring back on. He's leaving the watchtower. There we go. Okay. Whew, lost it for a second there. All right.
Because he sees John, taking out Superman.
Yeah, is John taking on the whole league? Because here we see Flash, Aquaman, and Zatanna all taking out too, and he's fighting Wonder Woman.
And it almost looks like he's made a green construct of her lasso.
Yeah. Wow. Jesus. I mean, again, I think the Green Lantern ring as a concept is probably the most powerful thing in the DC universe, isn't it?
Very probably.
Like it's a weapon reliant on the user's imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it picks people based on their willpower and imagination. Wasn't Kyle Rayner an artist?
Kyle Rayner's an artist. John Stewart's an architect. You could see the theme. You could see the theme here.
The only one that's a little bit odd man out is Hal Jordan.
Pilot.
Like, cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so Hal goes over to the newly constructed Coast City. Of course, he goes over to his house.
And he finds, like the one. Well, the idea is that the one building that's actually standing is his apartment building. And I love the way this sequence is drawn.
Oh yeah, it's
all of
so
the stuff
good.
with Hal in the apartment.
And just that black space as he walks up that staircase. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's brilliant.
And the green light, like he finds the lantern, and the lantern speaks to him that he brought it all back. We did, because it's a parallax.
It is a parallax. Parallax is there. Meanwhile, Ganthet is still fighting Kilowog. Oh, that's right. They tell us how Hal Jordan died. Did you know any of this?
No, I didn't.
Yes, Ganthet says the residual energy he held as parallax preserved it as I believed it might. Kyle says in the center of the sun. Jeez. The ship you gave me barely held together. Says saying that this is all sort of orchestrated by Ganthet. Let's see. Meanwhile, over at the watchtower, Kyle goes over there and meets up with Ollie.
and is able to give uh wait, where are we?
We're over the Watchtower.
Oh, right, here's where we are. I just I
You
flipped the page.
lost page. Yeah. So Cal goes over to the Watchtower, meets up with Ollie.
And it's
Meanwhile,
like, right,
Hal is still fighting with Parallax in
Hal is
himself.
now actively fighting with Parallax, which is the entity slash identity of Parallax is trying to assert itself. I love the way it's drawn as like two separate beings, and you never quite know until the very end
Hmm.
if
I
he's
love
like,
also here towards the bottom of this page and onto the next page that that Parallax and the Spectre sort of act like this sort of devil and angel for Hal, but neither of them are actually good.
yeah, both of them are devils.
Because really, what Johns I think is trying to illustrate here is that it is meant to be illustrated like a devil and angel thing, but neither of them are good. So what Hal has to do is sort of find his individuality here, and break free from that. I don't know. I love that. It's a great idea
Yes,
there.
basically. Um, yeah. And we get a bit more with Kyle and Ollie, discussing the central uh the central theme. The first inkling that there's going to be more lanterns. Um,
Mhm.
just in the line, there's an emotional electromagnetic spectrum out there that can be harnessed and used. Green willpower is the most pure, uh, which is interesting. Interesting that it's the most pure.
Mhm.
Um, and we get the history basically that Kyle, at the very beginning of this, found out about what parallax is. Uh, that parallax is a yellow entity that was made of living fear.
Whew, what an idea.
And it's interesting that it's like just a giant space insect
Yeah.
almost.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and we get the history of the Guardians having trapped it in like the giant power battery, um, and that's why there's the yellow problem because of an impurity. Um, like the whole Green Lanterns can't are weak to the color yellow, which
Mm.
it's an interesting explanation um, for something that was clearly just a 1950s. We needed a weakness for our superhero.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yes, I love what John says with that idea. It's great. But yeah, so we get sort of like the history of yeah, how Parallax infected Hal Jordan. Started off with like these small changes, the little like gray hairs on his on his like on his like near his ears there. Um Him fighting Mongol after he destroyed Coast City and all that. We see him and Tomar Ray there. Him basically becoming more and more infected by Parallax. He takes on Sinestro.
breaks
Um,
Sinestro's neck.
yeah.
Uh,
Did you find like this was like sufficient explanation for like everything that you didn't already know here?
yeah, this was actually really good explanation for what's been going up with Hal.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's necessary. I part of me kind of wishes it was a bit more focused earlier on. Um,
Hmm.
Again, if I were writing this, I would probably restructure it to focus more on the lanterns, Kyle in particular as the latest,
And have
and
Kyle give that backstory earlier on.
yeah, earlier on, and him being more of a focal point. Because for the first two issues, he's just writhing in pain, and it's like,
Mm.
you gonna do anything with Kyle Rayner? And I would keep Oliver because who doesn't love Oliver Queen? And he deserves
Yeah.
to be here. Uh,
I do also think Batman's inclusion is very important. Not maybe so much the Justice League, but Batman's inclusion is important.
Batman, but I might even scale that back just a little bit, especially near the end, because it go after this halfway mark, things start to go off into different directions, and it doesn't feel as focused. And
Mhm.
you'll see why because of the way this issue ends, uh, and who's revealed to still be back. But meanwhile, Hal is still having that internal struggle. Look, I have been good at keeping my words together.
I've fucked up way more this episode. It's all good. Yeah, so yeah, how relit the sun. That's what they say. He relit the sun. That happened, Jacob. That happened. I love it. Yeah, so he died. And now we're here. So um yeah, so Kyle says, yeah, you will finally escaped Hal Jordan's sight. It hid inside him. So yeah, so Parallax is dead. So everyone else finding out now that Parallax is still within Hal, or I guess the body of the Spectre that has made Hal still has Parallax.
Paralleled with Parallax breaking out in again very gruesome. Like it rips off Hal's skin
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it looks
like
so
a
good.
suit.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
And then we get this great full page of him saying Parallax lives, and as he like holds the Hal Jordan's skin suit.
and his mouth is like a black hole.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it.
Um,
So good.
yeah, and Oliver Queen tries to process this with Kyle. It's like who. It's like, oh well, if this monster was sleeping, who woke it up? And oh look, they're shot with yellow arrows.
And Sinestro's here.
And Sinestro's here.
Okay, so did you only know Sinestro as having like the yellow and black motif for his costume?
Yes.
That is the advent of the Yellow Lantern Corps existing.
Ah.
Yeah, so before he only had this stupid blue and black shit that I really, really, really don't like.
But he still has a yellow ring. Wait, hang on. That wasn't that yellow ring also the ring that like Guy Gardner used in Reign of Superman?
It was a general power ring in that. Now it's like more specifically like this is a fear ring, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, there's that.
But yeah,
now we move
Sinestro's here.
Yeah, Sinestro's here. We move into issue 4 called Force of Will. Sinestro's here. Let's see. He's trying to get to Hal. Guy shields him and Ollie. Sinestro breaks through it, and
he basically, with no effort, nearly takes everybody out.
Yep, he takes out Kyle. Is going to kill Ollie. Kyle gets back up, tries to fight him. Meanwhile, Parallax is Parallax, and Ganthet. He goes over to Ganthet and Kilowog. Ganthet does
the idea is that Parallax is infecting all of the rings,
which is what happened to John earlier. Now it's happening to Guy too.
But Ganthet, being space wizard cop, can free them of their filth. Which is it's intense. Like the sequence of them waking up and realizing, oh shit, we were taken over,
and then, to get that little taste of what Hal was feeling that whole time. I think that scares them, rightfully so.
And what's interesting is that like the fear itself isn't necessarily portrayed as unjustified fear, because it is kind of real fears, a lot of fear of loss, and things like that. But it is sort of that all-consuming idea of fear. But they don't have too much time to dwell on it because the Justice League is descending on Parallax.
Yes, and they think that the entire Green Lantern Corps, or what's left of the Green Lantern Corps, is involved.
Oh, the Justice League and the Titans, it seems.
Yeah, Titans are here. Tim Drake's here, which is great. Hawkman and Hawkgirl are there. Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate's here. Dr. Fate, Stargirl's here.
Wow. Superboy.
That is great.
The other Wonder Girl.
Bart Allen's here. I believe it's supposed to be Bart. Yeah, that should be.
Well, if Wally's the Flash, then Kid Flash must be.
Yeah, it has to be Bart.
Unless there's like a fifth.
Well, that's the thing. There are like a million different like Allens and Wests throughout the timeline that like take on the Kid Flash mantle. There's a Daniel West that's another reversed Flash. Like it's crazy.
It's another. How many children did Barry Allen have?
well, the idea is that like the line that like keeps going on, so it's like centuries ahead. Like these
Ah,
Allens and West come back to, and they all happen to decide this time period to come to. you know, is what it is, I guess. But yeah, so yeah. Meanwhile, Sinestro is fighting Guy. Not Guy, Kyle. That's who it is. Yeah, Sinestro's fighting Kyle.
and
So
Kyle proves why he was chosen as a Green Lantern. Uh, while Oliver Queen puts on the ring, goes to the goes to the power battery, and
and
tries to save the Oath.
he shoots a green arrow from the ring, which I love. He does hit Sinestro with it. He does it. He's still beaten. Kyle gets him out of there, and I fucking love this scene as they're walking away, sort of limping away. Green Arrow says, "Forcing your willpower into the ring, asking it to give your thoughts life. Is that what it's like?" Kyle says, "Every time." Damn.
Damn, like
Oh my god.
it's little moments like these that I love.
Yeah, yeah. I
Again,
think that's what John's really nails.
he's great at character moments. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
plot, this plot isn't anything. Honestly, not anything special.
it's big explosions. It's
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Uh, yeah.
I mean, like compared to the other John's works we've read, it's more complex than the big blockbuster ones like
Yeah.
Origin and Throne of
It's
Atlantis,
it's
I'd
it's more
say.
complex. It has more moving parts.
Hmm.
A lot more moving parts, and yeah, and it goes to some interesting
And,
places.
and that's of course not to say it's better than like Origin or Throne of Atlantis, though I'd say it's probably better than Throne. Um, but it is more complex.
Yeah. It's there's a lot more there, which is again interesting about just Johns as a writer.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, the Justice League are fighting Parallax, um, and he attacks Alan Scott by unhinging his jaw, which
Oh, I
ah,
love it. Look at that. That's so fucking cool. Um, yeah. So through his jaw, Hal Jordan breaks out for a second.
and it's
um,
implied that literally three people, and then the Spectre takes over for like some time.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh my God, look at that.
and the idea being,
Um,
Parallax
and then
still
Parallax, like the
lives.
monster, breaks free, the big yellow insect. And Spectre comes out to fight it. Hal is here too as a little ghost.
And
He looks really small next to the Spectre. Um,
he's basically drawn into a mindscape, seeing all the people he's loved and lost. Um, while the battle still rages, and the issue ends on this great two-page sequence of Hal Jordan de-aging
mhm.
and being prompted because of the presence of Sinestro to fight as a Green Lantern again.
Yes. Plenty of damn will to stand up, will to fight, and will to live. He says, Sinestro, get the hell away from them. And that is like the page. Like that
That
is the
is
fucking Hal Jordan page.
that is the page. It's
I'm sure you've seen that page like a million times because
yes,
that's like the Hal Jordan page, and it's such a great moment. We get this sort of like retro looking cover for issue 5. I think it looks pretty retro. Um,
yeah.
of just this classic 1960s Hal Jordan fighting Sinestro.
I think there's some versions of this in trade that use that cover,
I think so. Yeah, I think I've seen those.
like
Yeah.
an earlier version, which makes sense.
Mhm.
But this is
Issue 5 now.
Rings,
This is Rings. Yeah, issue 5. I'm still waking up.
and we get this is basically the big action issue.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there's the very minimal dialogue throughout this one.
yeah, there is uh, basically it's this is where we pivot away from the Justice League entirely.
Mhm.
Like I don't even think they really show up. They don't even think they show up. Like
Yeah, I think it's a small.
uh,
Is this a small appearance? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, Hal is here. First thing he wants to do, just wants to try out the ring again. So he flies out of the watchtower, springs across the moon, crashes into it, bounces off it, and says,
in this
"Damn, that
great
felt good."
it's like a full 2 pages. Honestly, this could have been like a fold out.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, just see like just how far he shot out just to try it out. But he leads Sinestro away from the watchtower by doing that. Sinestro comes after him. Great action sequence here, and that again, like you said, it's a lot of this issue. There's a lot of great art of them flying through space here with these yellow and
I
green
like that
lights.
Von Sciver has this nice tendency to go abstract when dealing with some like the bigger concepts. Because I think it's something that uh I can't remember who asked it. It was either Jamie or Mason asking me about comics as a medium on Twitter one day. And what does it better? It's like this, just the ability to go abstract and still be, telling a
Yeah,
story.
still tell a coherent story. Yeah, yeah,
It's
definitely.
really good. I and I love this sequence. Um, and it's this fascinating. You see so much of who these characters are. There's a lot of just big spreads of them
Oh yeah,
fighting.
that's a lot of this issue.
Um,
They keep fighting, we move on, and then Sinestro during the fight says one more thing. This is one thing that like sets off Hal Jordan's mind. Says, and you are a murderer. I made you a murderer, Hal Jordan. And we go into this great flashback, um, one that is done a million times over, but I think is so good. The first time Hal and Sinestro met, it's Hal flying through the sky in a jet, shortly after he has the ring, and Sinestro just appears in front of it, crashes the jet, and makes Hal put his ring on.
yeah, and it's basically like, right, I'm going. It's like I'm going to train you. I am your superior officer. Um, I don't know how any was it a twist in the 50s that Sinestro was evil?
I don't know. I've never read really like old Green Lantern comics. Never taken the time to really. I've read some older stuff, but nothing as old as like as what this is referencing. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure honestly.
because like he has an evil design.
Well, he
Like,
does, but I think also the idea is that like he was he was um loyal to the Green Lantern Corps for a long time still.
and then he just turned evil with.
Mhm. Like right now, where this flashback is at, like he's not evil yet.
Ah, so he
Yeah,
becomes evil.
yeah.
Uh,
The death of Abin Sur is what starts Sinestro on that path, but he's not
oh,
there. Yeah, he's not there yet.
so that's interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah, so they're fighting out in space, um, out near Saturn, I think, um, and some asteroids.
Yep.
Uh, I like. I feel like the one thing that could have easily happened with John's writing this, because John's clearly favors Hal over the other Green Lanterns. Um,
But he could have had Hal come in and completely steal the show. But halfway
yeah,
through this fight now, Kyle comes in and
well,
helps Hal out on this.
and there's this respect before he shows up for Kyle that Kyle had the torch when no one else did, when no one else could.
Mhm.
Um, it's like Rainer is a fool. No, you will respect him. And that's when Kyle comes in, and uh, I'm gonna say it. I think I prefer Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern costume.
It's cool. I like the way that the symbol is done on that one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice.
it's it works, and they send Sinestro like they make him like I can't tell if he teleports away or he just disappears, or he blows up.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Like the ring says, the weapon's molecular structure split upon destruction, resulting in a dimensional tear favoring the source material. Residual energy signature confirms in 1963. And Hal's even like, I don't know what that means. Um, and here's where we get just again another really nice character moment just between these two.
Hmm.
Um, all
And
done through a
yeah, and you can tell like the amount of respect thrown into this scene in particular. Just welcoming Hal back to the universe with the current Green Lantern. I love that whole page there with the two of them shaking hands and those couple like it was three panels between the two of them. I really love the way that's
yeah.
styled.
uh, styled, and there's this respect, this mutual respect, uh, And you would think that's where the issue ends, but then it realizes, oh wait, we have a giant Lovecraftian fear entity insect thing to deal with.
Yeah. It, like Sinestro was just a sidestep, really. But yeah, so we go back over to
Coast
Parallax,
City.
which is to Coast City, over to Parallax, which has now taken over Ganthet, right? Yeah,
It's
it's
taken over Ganthet.
taken over Ganthet, and that is just terrifying. Look at
It's a
that. Look
terrifying
at that
image.
thing. Look at that thing. But yeah, so we go over there. It's the League there. It's Guy. It's John. It's Kilowog. And then Kyle and Hal join them. We go into this nice little moment there where they're about to fight Parallax, but Batman stops Hal and wraps a batarang around his wrist, and Batman says, "As long as I'm standing, you're not doing anything." Just a great cliffhanger. I love that.
That
Which
moves
takes
us
us into issue 6, the most iconic cover
brightest
from this, which is typically the cover of chosen to
for good reason.
for trades. Yeah, got all 5 of the main lanterns here,
But
and
it's
it's called Brightest Day.
Day.
Brightest Day.
Also a DC event.
Not to be confused with the story Brightest Day. Yeah, this is the name of this individual issue. So yeah, moving on. We redo the ending of that. Hal breaks free of the rope around his wrist. He starts to walk away. Batman tries to stop him. Hal punches Batman in the face, and I think that just needs to happen more often.
Perhaps. And then basically from this point, the whole Justice League plot is again dropped. It's dropped,
Mostly.
really. Yeah. You needed something more to conclude that, John. Something different.
Which is why I think if it was just Batman, it would have worked a bit better. Because that would have felt like more of an ending to if it was just Batman.
Yeah, but it's the entire League.
Yeah. And then some.
Yeah. But they go on to fight Parallax in space again.
Yep. Just a nice little moment here.
I love how throughout this fight, each of the lanterns has their own like flavor of fighting style.
Yeah, you could see like in the constructs that they make, like how each of them handles like different situations.
Yeah, because
John like does the whole architect thing, like he makes like a machine to fight Parallax with.
Guy uses like a saw. Kyle literally uses like sketching, which I love.
Yeah, it's great just to see all that. Then we get this really nice 2-page spread of them all just firing green lights into Ganthet's mouth, and it's very stupid, but I love it. Oh, it's so much fun.
And it's the prelude to them saying the Green Lantern
oath. The oath, yeah. Which you should know at this point, right? I think you know at this point.
I know it. Sure, yeah. I couldn't repeat it for you.
Seriously, really? It's not that hard.
Again, like Oliver Queen, I get tripped up after like the 3rd line.
See, you could be like one of these psychos that knows like all the different Corps oaths.
No, nah.
See, I don't know them. I know like Larfleeze's because his is easy. That's about it though. That's about it. But yeah, so they stop. They're about to stop Parallax Ganthet thing, and
it's painful for them all, but they also like this. It's like the rings create a pathway to the center of the universe.
And this starts to recharge the power battery on Oa. The Guardians return here. We see them all standing there as Ganthet Parallax is defeated. See, Parallax is done now. Ganthet is laying there. I love this little moment here with Guy, where like Guy's all happy about it, and John's like, "Hey Gardner, what was all that talk about how you didn't miss the ring?" And Guy's like, "I lied." Just, I love it. I love Guy. And
the League is still there.
There's this standoff that I love the way it's drawn, with these repeated panels with Batman.
Yeah, I don't love it as much. It's like okay. You just saw them all save the universe, Batman. Like, you saw Hal Jordan defeat Parallax with the other Green Lanterns. Um, and it's the implication is like Bruce is gonna be keeping an eye on him, and if he steps out of line, yeah, I don't like the way that the plot ends. It doesn't
I don't mind it.
it doesn't wrap up nicely. We have then another tease with Hector Hammond, um, which we'll see in this episode. We'll discuss that.
Yeah.
And we have some nice character wrap up with Hal and Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Hal basically getting his job back, like going to be getting his
Well, I
job
forget,
back.
we never talked about it before, but Carol's married now, right?
Yes, she's
Yeah, so
married.
she has moved on from Hal. I mean,
Because
rightfully so, because
it's
he's been
been
gone for a while.
it's been an indeterminate number of years.
Yeah.
And then Hal goes to see Ollie to get the power battery back. And we end just on this great image of Hal Jordan, recharging his ring, saying I'll never forget it in regards to the oath.
Yep.
And that's how it ends.
That's Green Lantern Rebirth. It's good. I like it.
It's good. It's not like the best thing ever, like a lot of people seem to think it is. I'd also say if you're going to start reading Green Lantern comics, you can't just do this in isolation. Yeah, you really can't. I
think you can.
I think you need no fear.
I think the only thing you need for Rebirth is just to have a general knowledge of other DC comics. Like I think that's it. I don't know. I don't think there needs to be like a ton of context for this because they catch you up on everything.
Maybe I think you just need something else. I think it leaves something to be desired. And obviously, there's the Recharge miniseries, which I would also recommend.
Actually, let's talk about that briefly because
yes.
our next thing from at Jamie_season7, Jamie says, also, I love that out of the Green Lantern minis from this era, I easily prefer the one you're not covering. And I think you felt the same way. We're talking about Green Lantern Corps Recharge here.
Yes.
Obviously, we won't be covering that here, but yeah, I think you enjoyed that one a lot, right?
I read it. It's a bit tighter. It's one issue shorter than Rebirth was. It has Dave Gibbons co-writing.
Yep.
Which
oh god, who's on art? Is that Patrick Gleason on that one?
Yes, Patrick Gleason is doing the art.
Patrick Gleason, yeah, and he's brilliant. I love.
He's a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a bit more focused on the actual Green Lantern Corps. Has some interesting things to say about the Green Lantern Corps and their place in the universe as essentially a police force, and that they have also caused a lot of damage. Partially due to Sinestro, partially not. I would recommend it. Obviously, if you're getting the omnibus, which you should, the omnibus is beautiful, and it's fairly easy to find for a decent price. Definitely read it, because it easily of like the three things of the Green Lantern that I read, it's easily my favorite. But yeah, that's good. Now we have
Secret Files and Origins, 2005, number 1.
Yes.
Written by Jeff Johns. Written by Jeff Johns, art by Darwin Cook, who I just want to talk about briefly because I love Darwin Cook. I think everyone that's familiar with his work loves Darwin Cook, but
there's something classic about his art style.
Yeah, he's no longer with us, unfortunately. He's a brilliant artist. Did you ever hear of New Frontier?
I know that's like
Frontier. That's like his big one. There's an animated movie about that one, I think.
Yeah, I know that there's a movie of it.
Batman Ego, pretty famous Batman story that he did. Just a really, really great talent, and I love that he's part of this collection. So
yes, honestly, I think this might have been just my favorite issue art-wise.
That's fair. That's fair.
I love just how stylized it is. Also, you can see why this issue is included in Rebirth, because it is basically the follow-up to Rebirth with Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner. flying out into the desert.
Mhm. We go back to into this flashback with Hal as a kid. You get a bunch of Hal's backstory here, which I really, really love seeing.
I love this idea of, he's sort of an unruly kid who would
Mhm.
always go out to the airfield before school and sneak on just to see his dad fly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, you see him
that
there.
was
He well, obviously we know what happens between then and when we cut to him as an adult there, um, with his dad dying.
Yeah. I
Um,
love this idea that his dad taking him out as a kid to
mhm.
fly with him.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
Uh,
love that, and that's obviously like the scene that's repeated. Like they go out there, um, they bribe the guard there to go into the base, and he takes his son with him. It's just a really nice moment.
yes,
Um,
it's informed so much of who the character is, and
yeah,
then
we go to
cuts
later on.
forward to him meeting Carol, uh, and taking.
He does the same thing that his dad did. That he sort of bribes the guard, or she bribes the guard for him, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Well, he's a broke pilot.
yeah, and so they go out there. He takes her flying. It's a really, really lovely moment. I think that's great. And then we
All
cut.
done in this with these very nice like soft purples.
Mhm.
Um,
Then
I
over to present day again with Hal and Kyle. And Hal takes Kyle out to the base and bribes the guard again, and takes him
This time
flying. It's
with the
just
20.
yep.
This time with 20.
Yep,
Um,
he makes sure they go in without rings. It's so good, so
it's
good.
such a nice. It's just this nice little character piece.
Mhm.
Uh, it works so well to be like, hey, Jeff Johns isn't going to be trying to like technically overstep these other characters,
Yeah, yeah. Now,
which I
granted,
think is a thing that
a
other
lot of this is leading up to saying like, hey, Green Lantern is for Hal Jordan, Green Lantern Corps is for the others. But it is nice to know that like the focus is there still.
yes, but still being sure that the others get their focus. Because
Yeah.
let's be honest, there are times at DC where like other characters are just pushed to the sidelines. Uh, like oddly enough, recently Tim Drake being pushed to the sidelines and only now getting his own series again. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
uh, but yeah, this is oddly enough, this small issue might have just been my favorite single issue
Yeah,
that we've
I
read.
agree with that. Yeah.
Like it does so much.
Mhm.
Um, but we jump ahead a couple of months
Yes, and the actual
to
2005 Green Lantern series has started.
yes. So this
Yeah,
is
this is Green Lantern number one, Airborne.
yes.
Um,
Actually, I think before we get into that, I think we have perhaps one final question. Um,
this is the other one from Mason, right?
yes,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah. So I guess there are like bits from this that are taken into the movie.
yeah. Well,
So
the origin.
Yeah.
Um,
Mason's other question here is, if you had to pinpoint one thing, why did the Green Lantern movie fail? Assuming you think it did, of course, and I think everyone thinks it failed, right?
yes.
Um,
I don't think it has many defenders.
no,
There are
I mean,
aspects of it that
yeah,
are
yeah, there are like good things about it. Like I said, the cast is fantastic. I like it's a perfectly cast film. It's got fucking Mark Strong as Sinestro.
yeah.
Like, it's great. It's really, really
I
great.
argue it's just a poor director.
Yeah.
A poor director basically. I don't know if he's not really taking the material seriously or not knowing necessarily how to shoot a special effects heavy superhero movie in
Mhm.
2011
Yeah. Well,
because
even then, with on the special effects, like it sounds weird to say for a character like Green Lantern. I don't think the special effects had to be as heavy, did
oh yeah
they?
because the entire costume was just a special effect.
Look at the costumes from the comics. Like, you could totally do those practically.
Yeah, you could touch it up with
Just
special
put the
effects.
green glow around them. Like, that's it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, yeah, and it doesn't look. It looks like early 2000s special
Yeah.
effects,
Yeah.
even though the film was made
In 2011.
2010. Yeah, 2010,
2010,
2011.
2011 ish. Yeah. Yep. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, great cast. Um, beyond, yeah, just everything else failed.
Everything.
It looks and feels miserable, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's kind of
I think
made
also
it.
also the amount of special effects in it really do limit the performances of all the main actors.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, because it's so effects heavy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it doesn't help that it also just kind of killed off interest in Green Lantern as a character. It seems in terms of
Yeah,
films.
like that scared Warner Brothers from doing like anything with Green Lantern ever
Yeah,
again.
it's like
Um,
apparently Arrow near the end teased that they were going to
yeah,
do
okay.
Green
So
Lantern.
this is the thing. I guess spoilers for Arrow, whatever, who fucking cares. But there was like this like fan theory for a long time that because David Ramsey, who played Diggle in the show, vaguely looked like Jon Stewart, that he should be Green Lantern.
And
And so in the last episode of Arrow, they gave Diggle a Green Lantern ring.
you know they could actually you could do something there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could.
Um,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
think they
yeah.
did.
No.
Hey, but apparently there's still going to be a Green Lantern Corps thing for HBO Max.
Yes,
Apparently,
and there are still people attached. Come on, I just let it happen, please.
let it happen. But yes, so that
Moving
is
into
that.
Green Lantern number one, Airborne. Yes, we're at Ferris Air here again. Um, and we quickly find out this is a flashback. We're seeing Hal's origin as a Green Lantern again, which of course I guess is, I shouldn't say again because you've never seen it before.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, but here we are. Yeah, we see Hal get dragged over to the ship. This crashed ship that Abin Sur is in. Abin Sur says, "Do you accept this duty?" Hal Jordan says, "Buddy, if I'm not dreaming, absolutely." And Abin Sur has this great last line: "Says an Earthman, I never thought I'd live to see the," and he's dead.
And he's dead.
And he's dead.
Uh,
Well, I
and
guess he didn't live to see the day.
he didn't live to see the day. Uh, I love the transition out of the past into the present, just with the fading of the spaceship,
Mhm.
uh, to where Hal Jordan is now a pilot. He seems to have been demoted, which is fair because he's been gone for X number of years
Yes.
and possibly dead. Um, he's playing poker
With
through
with this other pilot through the glass of their
through the
jets.
glass. Uh,
But yeah, back. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention the art in this one is done by two people. The opening flashback is done by Ethan Van Sciver, but the rest is done by Carlos Pacheco.
yeah,
I think
Pachico.
Pacheco. I don't
Uh,
know. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, and I don't know. I like this sort of like softer art style for the beginning of this.
yeah, yeah. The soft it works. It distinguishes itself quite a bit, and it makes I think it actually conveys some emotion in certain bits better, just
Mhm.
because it's softer and not
Yeah,
as because Van Sciver is an artist who will fluctuate between really realistic and then abstract with no in
yeah.
between. Whereas
Mhm.
this is kind of less realistic. Realism in art does not necessarily make it good art.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
my soapbox.
I mean, I will say that Van Sciver's art is good. Just it's not necessarily good because it's realistic.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
But yeah, moving on. Hal is here, hanging out with these other pilots.
he has to run through test pilot school again, which ooh, that hurts.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so he goes over to his locker, grabs his ring, once again showing that Hal is still flying without a ring because he feels, I guess, safer that way.
I think the idea is that
Or he doesn't like the safety net, I should say.
yeah.
Yeah.
John calls him over that there's an abandoned spacecraft. Um, uh, Meanwhile, we cut to California. Um,
We get a sexism.
we do
We get a sexism.
get a sexism
Um,
because, again, did I mention this is the early 2000s?
I mean, hey, it's self-aware sexism.
It's so, yeah,
It's
but that is emblematic of the early 2000s in a lot of ways. Uh,
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we have this little scene. Uh, Girl gets hit on at a bar, whatever. Scene ends. We walk out. and Hal and John are going over to this abandoned spacecraft. They're talking on the way. Nice to have just a nice little scene here between John and Hal.
Yeah. Um,
Oh yes, but also we established here. I think we established back in Rebirth too. We just forgot to mention, but we established here that with the recharge of the central power battery, Yellow no longer works on Lantern power rings, which
yes.
is probably like the very best thing Jeff Johns ever did for larger Green Lantern continuity.
Yeah, because like that weakness is just made fun of. Because
Yeah,
like
yeah. Well, you can make fun of it easily, of course, but also like force writers to actually think of different things for the enemies. You could come up with any enemy you want, and just coat them in yellow. And it's like, oh, this
coat
is a
them in
Green Lantern
yellow.
enemy. But here now it's like, okay, yeah, let's actually come up with something different. And,
It's not like we have authors use Robin in that way to just because of the yellow cape.
okay, but I will say it does lead to like the best scene from All Star Batman and Robin.
Don't want to talk about that one.
That's a great scene though, Jacob. That is a great scene.
It's still All-Star Batman and Robin.
Batman makes Robin paint themselves and the entire room in yellow just so Batman could safely talk to Hal Jordan without being attacked. Like, I don't know. I just think that's really funny. I don't know. It's like the one good thing from that comic. And plus Jim Lee, of course.
I was going to say, the one good thing from that comic is the art.
Sorry, Jim Lee.
But yeah, so Hal and John go into this spaceship. And it's like, oh, wait, this is a one-way flight. So whatever it was in here was on Earth. And it has landed on Earth. And it is a thing. A robot-y thing.
Yes. Did you know the robot-y thing?
I did not. I think it's actually it's called a Manhunter, which is eventually revealed. Yes. I think that's actually a really good villain for like this first arc of just the ongoing.
I remember you messaging me about that. I thought that was interesting that you were so interested in them to begin with. I guess not interested in them, but like thought it was so fitting for the beginning.
Yeah. Well, it's this. Yeah, it's very much.
They're very classic Green Lantern villains.
Yeah. It's very much a villain where you can be like, okay, we don't need excessive backstory. We don't need to like be examining a villain. No, we just want to set up Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern.
Here are some robots.
Here are some robots. Also, some interesting ties to the Guardians later on, but
yeah.
Meanwhile,
we're back in Coast City. We are here,
which is being rebuilt.
Yeah. Aside from the one building.
Aside from the one building.
Yeah. But yeah, so Hal's brother Jim comes here. We meet Jim. They hang out. It's nice to see them actually like catch up here. There's some really great character building here, I think.
Yeah. And it's interestingly, Jim knows that Hal's a Green Lantern. Like, despite being a secret identity, Hal doesn't really keep it a secret.
A lot of the Lanterns don't. Hal and Kyle are the only human Lanterns that wear masks. Well, aside from Alan Scott, but he's not part of the Corps.
He's not part of. He's different. He's a 1940s character.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That he is. But
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Jim's like, "Are you still Green Lantern or what?" And then the apartment blows up because, of course, it does.
The apartment doesn't blow up. A jet flies through the sky.
A sonic boom shatters all the glass.
Yeah, it doesn't blow up, Jacob. Just severe property damage in a city that's currently being rebuilt for property damage.
Coast City can't get a break, it seems.
No, it can't. But I was just gonna say, how would you classify an alien invasion? It's blowing up a city and then building a giant gray dome around it.
I'd call it a 90s level incursion.
Because I said property damage, but that's not right.
No.
That's not just property damage. That's
acts of terrorism?
There you go.
Explosions?
That's it. I'm so tired. So Hal jumps into action. He puts on the costume, whatever. Stops the jet coming out of the sky. He brings the jet down to the ground. Fire team's there. and it is the pilot gets out of there with on the helmet says cowgirl. She comes out, takes off the helmet, and it is a woman. And Hal Jordan is Hal Jordan. So
Hal Jordan is horny.
yeah,
And
which is fair. It's in
it's
character.
fair. It's in
Yeah,
character. But this meet cute sequence, so early 2000s,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is 2005.
Yeah, right down to the way that like they draw Hal when he first sees her. Like
yeah, like this is I don't mean that as like a bad thing. It's just
yeah, no, like it's not like a bad. It's just an early 2000s thing.
Yeah, like it's just you can date this comic too.
Yeah.
Like this is the era of How I Met Your Mother.
Hey, have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother?
No, I haven't. I need to because
Check it out. That's like one of my favorite sitcoms ever. Fuck you. It's a great show. And hey, this came out the same year that How I Met Your Mother started.
Yeah. But yeah, like so. Her name is actually Jillian Perlman. They call her Cowgirl, like I think from this point on. But yeah.
And I think she's definitely meant to have a very like Southern accent, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, she's yes.
Like that's how I always read her. I don't know. Like just yeah, I think it makes sense.
It makes sense. But inside the jet is alien technology.
Yes. And we get the line, the no man escapes, and obviously you didn't know how that was going to end, but yeah, most readers of the time are like, oh, should he gonna say it, and then he didn't say it, so there's that.
So this is a returning thing.
Yeah. No man escapes the Manhunter. That was a whole thing. So yeah. Anyway, Green Lantern #2. I love this cover. That's a great cover.
This one is No Fear. I like how a lot of the covers of this sequence are just shots of Hal.
Yeah.
But this is No Fear, and the Manhunter blows up a truck or a bus. It's a bus. I think it's a bus. Just like a great And the buster's like, you need a lift somewhere? No.
Jacob, I just want you to know, I'm going to cast you as the Manhunter in my Green Lantern movie.
No. No.
This is it. So anyway, so we go back to the crash site, or what would have been the crash site if Hal hadn't stopped it. And we're examining it, we're scanning it with the ring.
More early 2000s character interactions.
Yeah.
Oh, the green on your uniform, it's hot. It's not the fabric. And the black is cold most of the time. Laying it on thick, Hal.
It works. It works. But then this is all cut off then eventually by someone walking in to talk to Cowgirl. Yeah. This is General Stone, who Hal Jordan knows, and we see through another flashback they did not leave on the best of terms. Hal punched General Stone in the face. Yes, and now they're here, and presumably General Stone doesn't know who Hal is, because he's meeting this Green Lantern, of course, and
Hal tries to be civil, but kind of fails.
He's pretty civil. I don't know.
You can see the contempt in his face.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the army will take it with me. It's like, okay, understood, sir. It's like, so Hal flies off. Meanwhile, with the convoy, the Manhunter and the two drivers are complaining about how hot it is. And in the back, once again, the Manhunter is becoming activated.
No man. So meanwhile, over in California, Jon Stewart is examining this hole in the ground, as you do.
I think the idea is that the hole in the ground came from the blowing up of the tour bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hal calls John then, and says, "Let me know if you need backup." Meanwhile, Hal goes back to talk to Jim again. And Jim's like, "Hey, you're just back to doing the same shit that you're doing again. What is it? I guess their other brother died then, Jack."
Yeah.
Yep. and he says, Jim says, I realized there was nothing scarier than being alone. Where were you, Hal? And Hal says, long story. I'm guessing like what? So Jim like doesn't know that Hal was like dead.
But apparently not, which
Yeah.
is like that's an
Well, it's
interesting
not, well,
piece
no,
of
because I guess the idea is that Hal is able to like keep up appearances with the Spectre, so like he was able to
yeah,
show up for like brief periods of time.
but
Uh,
not really being there for his brother.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and of course, the Spectre, uh, not exactly the most uh,
forgiving of people.
forgiving, emotionally well adjusted. Take your
Yeah,
pick of adjectives.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, so I don't know why I'm really drawn to Jim as a character. I think he's one of the more interesting
he's also
Lantern side characters.
he's scared because Coast City blew up, like, and he's scared that it's going to happen again.
Hmm.
And his fear is kind of warranted
Yeah,
because it easily could happen again.
yeah,
Um, Now, will it? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out.
yeah. Meanwhile, back at Ferris Air, Hal goes to meet with the rest of the pilots. Um, we
Uh,
who are we talking to here? Who's this guy? I can't remember his name.
Shane, uh,
Shade.
yeah, he's the guy that runs the test center.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
And
talks
then
to him
this.
about what to do about General Stone to try to get into like get back his qualifications.
Hmm.
Uh,
Meanwhile, this convoy was brought over here, the one that was carrying the manhunters, or the manhunter, um, and then yeah, so it breaks out. The truck blows up. Hal Jordan becomes Green Lantern again. We get a full page shot here of the manhunter, and I love this the how they like, sort of like modernize this manhunter design. It's so cool.
and it's in rough shape.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and uh, Jim is driving away from Coast City to make his life somewhere else. Uh, and Hal is going to fight the Manhunter and
Yeah.
try to basically evacuate the area and save everyone.
Mhm.
I like
I know we talk about Jeff Johns stuff as like big blockbusters, but you could see what Johns is doing here, saying like, yeah, Hal came back and basically went right back to what he was doing before he was dead, and
basically
isn't actually looking at what this is doing to his life and how it's actually changing.
how it's changing things, how it's affecting things.
Mhm.
He has some quips with the ring itself. Because the ring is, I imagine the ring has a personality.
Yeah, I always like when like Green Lantern writers. I mean, Johns does it a lot. Like gives the ring personality, like it's another character. It's cool.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
blown.
blown through
Uh,
a wall by this jet here. The Manhunter follows him inside.
and the ship
Attacks
is
him.
Abin Sur's ship, reconstructed and rebuilt.
Mhm.
Um, and then the Manhunter fighting Hal gets lasered in half.
By
Uh,
the upgraded Manhunter.
yes. Uh, and the upgraded Manhunter is just ruthless in trying to kill the older model, uh,
Mhm.
take it offline.
But then as it kills the older model, it approaches Hal, and its old shape starts to like sort of wear away. And this is where we get the truly like retro Manhunter design. Like, look at that thing. Where like really like where it's truly like a modernized version of the old
Of
design.
an
It looks
old design.
yeah, looks really really cool.
Yes.
Um,
And it
so yeah,
declares, Space Sector 2814 belongs to us. It belongs to the Manhunters. And nothing escapes the Manhunters.
which brings us
Uh,
into Green Lantern number 3. I think probably my favorite cover from No Fear.
Probably.
Yeah, really
This
nice
is
colors there.
this is Flight Delay.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. And oh, that's right, the older model's still alive. I forgot that.
Still alive. It's not. It just won't die.
Yeah.
So the older model's fighting the newer model will also try to fight Hal. The newer
Yeah.
model's trying to fight the older model will also trying to fight Hal. And Hal's just trying to get them both down.
Yep.
So we are in a three-way Mexican standoff,
Yes, we
basically.
are.
Uh,
And yeah, so fight continues. They leave the carrier base. Um they get outside. The newer model takes off its face
Yeah, it has a power battery for a skull.
Love that. It's such a cool image.
And the and
It starts depleting Hal's ring
yeah, like to go down to like 3.3%.
within
That
3 panels.
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
and it flies off.
Because the older model is getting away, so it
Yeah,
decides to go terminate that one. But Hal's battery is currently at 2.5%. Um, he is greeted by, who is this one supposed to be? We don't know this one, right? Yeah, we don't
yeah.
know
No, I
this
think
one.
this is just a
Okay.
soldier.
Yeah,
Uh,
pilot. But yeah, so General Stone comes up to comes up to Green Lantern, and Hal tries to get some information out of him about like about what Abinsur's ship is doing in
it's
there.
like he needs to borrow one of your jets. It's like, we appreciate the help, Green Lantern, but we'll handle. You don't understand. Lantern is classified. We don't have time for red tape.
And he
And
punches
he
General Stone
punches General
again
Stone again.
like a
Uh,
fucking idiot because he's Hal Jordan.
because Hal Jordan is a dumbass.
Yes, yes.
And so it's like, I could have you arrested, but you should let him fly. He saved our butts today, General Stone. I'm aware of that, Sellers. Then give him another shot. Uh, so they get him in the air. Uh, uh, and something clicks in Stone's mind because you never forget being punched in the face by someone more than once,
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well, they make a point of that later, so we'll talk about
yeah,
that there. But yeah,
but
meanwhile, at Jim's house, he's with his wife and he has 2 kids now. Um, and they see about they see the footage of like Hal Jordan fighting on TV. Well, I'm sorry, Green
uh,
Lantern fighting on TV.
and what's
Um,
interesting is that Jim is like not letting his is like smothering his kids out of fear.
yeah, yeah.
Like his kid wants to play football. Jim won't allow that to happen because that would be outside where supervillains are. Uh,
Yeah, so yeah, just nice little scene there. We get some flashbacks of our pastimes with the Manhunters. We get a brief shot of Batman there, which I think is nice. Um, and we go back to Hal, who's still chasing down the 2 Manhunters.
the older model is like just in bad shape. Like one of its arms is off. Uh, it looks like one of its legs is breaking.
Mhm.
It's getting worse. Um, and the Manhunter punches through. Uh,
The glass of
pun-
this jet and tries
yeah.
to get to Hal. Um,
Well, his power levels are at.
Hal's battery completely depletes. The jet starts to spiral.
Somehow Hal still has a plan.
Because of
Uh,
course he does. Um, then he just sort of jumps out and realizes that of course if the Manhunter could deplete his battery, then it could recharge it too. So Hal jumps out of the jet, latches onto the Manhunter, charges his
reach
ring through the Manhunter's face, says the
ripping
oath.
off the skull.
I fucking
Uh,
oh god, what a great scene! I love that. And gets the costume back on, back into action. He captures the old Manhunter. And
uh,
let's see. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, that's right. There's a self-destruct on the Manhunters, which would like cause like a whatever kind of blast radius.
Probably enough to destroy Coast City a second time.
Again, yeah, because it's Coast City. Um, but yeah, so there's no way to self-destruct it. So Hal takes the Manhunter out into space, throws it into
The,
space. It blows up.
the Manhunter feels fear as it blows
Oh,
up.
that's right. I forgot about the moment. Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Oh, I love that.
It's a
That's
fascinating
amazing.
moment. And he heads right back to Coast City, um, talks to John, waltzes into General Stone's uh, quarters on the base.
And Stone says like, "Yeah, you're fucking Green Lantern," and Hal's like, "Okay, I guess that means I'm gone, right?" And
So,
he,
so, so, so Hal goes to apologize for punching him the first time, thinking he's safe this from the second time because, like, it's Green Lantern. No one's gonna know that Hal Jordan is Green Lantern. It's not like there's a secret identity or anything.
Mhm.
Uh, that's really flimsy. Uh, and so
But
like
yeah,
that's all I needed to hear after he apologizes. We all make mistakes. If you want back in, you're in. Besides, it'd be a great honor to have Green Lantern in the USAF. It's like,
And he's like he says, I've been popped on the job twice in the last 15 years, Jordan. Some knuckles have a certain ring to them. This could really benefit each of us. Welcome back, Captain. So yeah, so Hal's reinstated as captain and kind of realizes that he's just signed on with a really bad thing. Like it's just not good at all.
yeah, I mean, he signed
Uh,
up on with the United States Air Force.
well, yeah.
Like,
But
yeah.
aside from that,
Aside from that,
yeah.
yeah. And he
Yeah.
realizes, oh wait, he's kind of been neglecting his family.
Yeah.
So he puts on the costume and flies over his brother's
Brother's
minivan.
family. Yeah. Then we get this little flash to another planet. We see the Manhunters here. We see that we see that this guy has these other like lanterns like chained up over here. Do you know who these guys are at all?
No.
Or okay, all right. We'll talk about that more later then.
Yeah.
This is more a tease for like some later stuff we'll be covering.
Yeah, this is stuff that hasn't happened yet. It's a tease.
Yes. All right. So
again,
bring us into
a nice little 3-issue story. I like that Johns doesn't always write for a full trade of like 6 issues.
Yeah, he does tend to do that. He doesn't do that here. So now we move into Green Lantern number 4. Why is Hector Hammond colored like Sinestro here? Isn't he colored like Sinestro? Like his skin is colored that same way. Weird.
Yeah.
Still a cool cover though.
Yeah.
So Skyver is on art for this whole issue. So we open on this scene. This is Alienated. We open on this scene where these two guys are driving across this road. They see an alien. They hit it. The alien says, "I just went out for a cigarette."
And it's like classic like gray big head, bulging eyes, like your classic 50s Roswell alien.
Yeah, it's just a great cold open. I love that. So Hal is here hanging out with Kilowog.
I think the implication is that this is after Recharge.
Because the whole core is here now. Yeah, and I think some of the lanterns from Recharge are here too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. This is definitely post Recharge. So Hal is here. He's hanging out in Noah. Hangs out with Kilowog.
The other lanterns are like, wait, humans exist? I thought they were extinct.
Which I love. I love that.
It's like, oh, they're ugly. I love that humans are called ugly. I also love this line. It's like, there's a true Kilowog. The Green Lantern. Is that Green Lantern an Earthman? Worse, he's an American.
So
which,
good.
like, yeah, that is worse.
That is worse. Yeah. So we get this little scene where Kilowog fights Hal Jordan because he's Kilowog. Yep.
For old time's sake, Hal goads him on. And it's great. And he's interrupted by
the thoughts of Hector Hammond.
Yeah, which is creepy. This character is just terrifying.
Yeah.
And kind of gross. Like just other than just the design, but just the concept of like being so telepathic and with no scruples of like, I'm just gonna invade your mind right now.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we go to where this gray alien was hit, and Hal is there to sort of inspect the body. Let's see, what do we find out about it here? I forget.
Well, we find out, it said some words in English to the driver. It's like he said he went out for a cigarette. And we find out that the target is terrestrial in origin. Homo sapien posteritas 50 cycles. So this alien is a human being.
Oh, love it.
Which is
God,
a creepy idea.
Oh yeah. So meanwhile, this doctor here gets a call from Bel Rev, says Hector Hammond has a message. He wants to tell you about the body. So Hal goes over to Bel Rev here, sort of let inside. I don't know who this character is that talks to Hal briefly.
I don't know.
They don't actually say.
So my
Oh,
brain,
Sonar. He's called Sonar. I don't know.
oh,
Wait, do I know Sonar? I don't
because of
think
the
I know. I
music,
don't think I know Sonar.
because the sheet music in his hand, I thought, wait, is the Music Meister a comics character?
No, no, he was created for Brave and the Bold. Yeah,
I mean, good, because
yeah, because like
that character
Neil
needs.
Patrick Harris should be the origin of that character.
Yes,
um, and not whoever the fuck played him on the Flash. Remember they did the Music Meister on the Flash?
they
Remember how
did.
bad that? Yeah, yeah, they did a musical episode.
I
It
don't
was
think I
really,
got that far.
and they did a musical episode, and it was really bad, and it was a crossover between Flash and Supergirl, and it was terrible. Like it was fucking awful. Um, moving on. Well, we've been talking about the CW shows a lot here.
Yeah, why does this keep? This is what
I
happens when
don't
we're
know. I don't know.
tired.
This is weird. But yeah, here we are. Anyway, so yeah, so Hal goes down to see Hector Hammond. My God.
Hammond, who is
Uh,
clearly getting off on having company.
yeah. Oh God,
Uh,
look at that full page when they first walk in this cell.
just like, oh,
Horrible.
just like sends a shiver down your spine. Uh, and this it's Hammond wants is like drooling at the idea of just experiencing emotion and the thoughts
My
of other people, and it's
fucking
just like
God. Oh, that is horrible. Oh, I hate it. But yeah,
uh
he goes into Hal's mind, and oh, here we are. We get this little sequence where Hal, we just see just Hal's mind. Him talking with a girl at a bar. We see his childhood. Um, we see what he wishes he could have. We see a quick flash of Rebirth there in the middle of it all.
and
And my
it's
God,
it's disturbing because
yeah,
Hal's just basically like I think fires energy into his ears, into his brain, just to try to stop it
yeah.
and
Oh
causing
my
him
God,
pain
yeah. Oh
and
God.
demanding to know who they are. Um, uh, and he doesn't know what they are. He doesn't know their name, but they're back. They're
Hmm.
in Coast City. They're checking on their other experiment.
Hmm.
Um,
And then we end the issue on just the most bizarre scene that like would make no sense, just completely out of context. We go back to Coast City. This couple is swimming in the water. Guy's dragged down by sharks. Woman swims away. She gets to the beach. And then this giant shark with the body of her boyfriend in his mouth comes out of the water and goes to attack her. And that's the end of the issue. Like,
and it's a shark man.
yeah,
Is
which
a
one would really hope that it was King Shark, but it's not.
I was
Uh,
hoping it was King Shark. I was
yeah, yeah,
disappointed.
yeah. Um,
Um,
but yeah,
but yeah,
moving into Green Lantern number 5, Feeding
feeding
Frenzy.
frenzy.
And the shark gets cover too. Like the shark gets the cover.
Yeah, and it's that made me even think more like, oh, it's gonna be King Shark. We're gonna do some King Shark stuff. It's like, no, it's just a shark man. Uh, but this so there's a guy.
Do you know when King Shark was first created? Actually,
Wasn't he created for the Superboy?
he was.
For
Yes, yes, he was.
like
Yeah.
Connor Kent Superboy.
Yep. Yeah, the one that spun out of Death of
For
Superman.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. Yeah, like of
I
all
don't
the
want to
places
say
for
the
him to
best
come from,
Superboy, but
he's the best. Come on. I mean,
I
you
haven't
also
read. I
you
haven't
also
read.
you also have read John Kent. So.
Yeah, so I don't want to make that judgment. Currently the best, but also currently the worst because I've only read one.
Yeah. Anyway, so I open issue 5. We're on a plane. Um, some goblins attack.
Well, we're parroting the Nightmare at 20,000 feet. Like this guy on the plane looks kind of like William Shatner. Uh,
Sure.
yeah, because Gremlins on the wing of the plane.
Okay. Moving on.
I'm Jeff Johns likes seminal pieces of pop culture and is homaging them throughout these 3 issues. He did Close Encounters of the Third Kind with the alien. He did Jaws with the Shark Man, and now he's doing that episode of the Twilight Zone.
I had not noticed that.
Yeah, it's
Huh.
also they're speaking German, which is
See,
an
that I didn't
interesting.
that I didn't catch either. Any idea what they're saying?
I don't know German.
I didn't know if you knew German.
I don't. I only know English and like kind of bits of Spanish, but no, not even enough to be conversational. Languages are hard.
That they are.
Uh,
Moving on. Over at Edwards Air Force Base.
yes.
Yes, we are here with Hal.
Hal being part of the class to regain his license.
Yes.
Uh,
And yes,
Stone wants.
talking to you, General Stone. Let's see. He goes over. Oh yeah, that's right. He goes over to where the couple was attacked. The girl died now, right? She's fucking dead. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
fucking
she's
dead.
dead. She got
She's
eaten
fucking
by a
dead.
shark.
Yep. And
Who's not King Shark?
not King Shark for some reason. He should be.
He should be.
He really should be. But
So
Hal goes down
Hal,
into the water to investigate, find some regular sharks,
who are
and then
just scavenging.
then the big shark, and he traps himself in a cage to keep himself safe. Meanwhile, Hector Hammond is fucking weird.
Being
it says
bathed.
it says bath time, Hector.
It's like, ah.
Oh my god, as these little German goblins are here with him.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
what? People listening, without looking it up, just imagine for a second what you think little German goblins look like.
Well,
Just have fun with that for a second.
I've already put the image in their mind of the gremlins from the gremlin from the Twilight Zone, even though they don't really look like the gremlins from the Twilight Zone.
So just imagine something completely different.
Yeah. But Hal is, trying to figure out what this Shark Man thing is. It is basically just a Shark Man.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's been reduced to being only able to do simple thoughts of like need more brain. So is it like a shark zombie man?
I guess.
It's
gotta be.
But they break into I think like an army, like a navy ship that's docked. And Hal is trying to just fight it, gets his arm in its mouth, and bites down, which Hal then uses to blow it into the upper atmosphere. Meanwhile,
over in Palmdale,
we get a follow-up from Rebirth, which I'm guessing this is maybe a tease for the Blackest Night event.
It's very far in advance. I think keep in mind Black Hand is in the next issue.
Oh right.
Yeah.
But his hand gets regrown, but then it gets mangled, and he smells death.
And he goes over to Valley Hospital. Meanwhile, Hal is still fighting the shark that should be King Shark, and it's very disappointing. They go down to the water. They still fight. Some very nice Ethan Van Sciver art.
Tries to choke him.
Yes. Then the little German goblins come down into the water, and
there's like a UFO on the bottom of the water. Like, I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And they come out. They take Hal Jordan. They incapacitate him. Meanwhile, at the hospital,
I think the idea is that they're like from Thanagar, maybe, or something to do with Thanagar. I don't know. There isn't like a translation, so unless you know German, which neither of us do, it's you don't know what the dialogue is supposed to be. In the hospital, Black Hand starts feeding off the life energy, I guess.
And everybody dies. And he says, "I have my hand. How nice." And like, you haven't seen much of him yet, but Black Hand is so silly. Like, he's such a silly villain.
Oh, it's over the top.
Oh yeah, I love him. All right.
Yeah.
We have about 15-20 minutes to get this done. We can do this. We're on the last issue. This is Green Lantern number 6, Black Sheep. The art in this is done by one Simone Bianchi. Simone Bianchi, and I
Is
love it. It's
it's a
so
beautiful
cool.
watercolor style.
It's so different. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
It can be a little jarring, I guess, though, coming straight off of Van Sciver's realism in the last two
Yeah,
issues.
but I like the way it works.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It could just be harder to like associate certain things with the
what's
way
been
they were
going
portrayed in
on.
the last two issues.
And I
Yeah.
think it's probably because like Van Sciver was probably like Jim Lee, and like deadlines are hard when you're that
Yeah.
detailed.
Yep. And also he's probably getting a lot of work at the time.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
pretty
probably
sure
on
I
other
think I think he was
books.
super busy around them.
But yeah, so we're back on the naval ship where the water bubbles and a UFO launches out of the water.
Oh my
Uh,
god, look at that. That's so nice. Right off the bat. Looks so good. Um yeah, Hal is here. He's got the little German goblins around him. The Shark Man is in a tank, and Hector Hammond contacts Jordan to wake up. He gets him
because
awake.
the gremlins are trying to eat his brain, it seems.
Yes. This is so weird. I forgot how weird this got.
Yeah, this goes to some weird places.
This got so weird. Oh my god. Yeah, so they're trying to eat his brain, like to the point where like they have like the top of his head cut open, like exposing his brain.
His giant brain. And he is dying, and then Black Hand is there uh, to kill Hal Jordan, to be the 23rd person I've killed today. But that doesn't make me a bad man.
I
It's
lo-
like,
I fucking love him. Um
it's like
oh
what?
man.
You killed 23 people.
He
I
has so
think
many he has so many great like corny lines, and then he goes like death is good and death wants you back. And it's like just I love it.
it's
Oh
like
my
I
god.
don't think she does. I don't think she does. Because this is the DC universe where the Endless are part of the DC universe.
Shit, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah.
the reading of this, I just couldn't imagine Death of the Endless being like, what the fuck are you? Like,
Black Hand thinks he like serves death, and it's death from the Sandman.
yes.
Oh man.
Uh, but this is where
Yes.
we do get a Blackest Night tease.
Yeah.
Death is stronger. It is the pure power of the far end of the emotional spectrum, the emptiness of space, the Blackest Night. It's like, ooh. Why do I have a feeling that Blackest Night was like planned for a while? Because
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is like it was like the big thing that Johns was always working up to, and I mean, really, a lot of Johns' run was like planned out from the beginning. I think the only era of Johns' Lantern that does not feel as planned out as the rest is the transition from pre-52 to New 52. That's
that
like
was sprung on everyone with like,
well, even well, no, because here's the thing with Johns' Lantern, like Johns reset the whole DC universe, but he was like, yeah, no, Green Lantern, I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing before. But because he was focusing on all those other things at the time, like War of the Green Lanterns isn't the most focused arc, and the early New 52 stuff, while still really good, is very simplistic.
because he had like 3 other books he was writing.
Yeah, I remember I read like the first volume of New 52 Green Lantern, and like the first like 2-3 issues like barely have any dialogue. It's like here, just like drop some shit in there, you know?
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
But
you,
yes,
you'll
so
see. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
so Black Hand is trying to kill Hal Jordan.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Because who isn't these days?
the Air Force is trying to drop in some artillery firepower.
Yes.
Um,
Not King Shark breaks out of his tank. Um,
wants fresh blood. Uh,
yes. He fights off the
uh,
little German goblins.
yes. Uh, Hal's still fighting. Black Hand's like, and I warned you, death wants you. I want you.
I think Black Hand is gay for Hal Jordan.
Well, Hal Jordan is like, sorry, you're not my type.
See, I'm
Uh,
telling you. Yeah.
we flash back uh, to uh, Hal during the time where his mother was dying, I think is the implication.
Yep. Yeah. Hal wants to go to the
Uh,
hospital, but his mom doesn't want to see him because she blames him for like putting her there, and Jack, their older brother, blames him even more.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So Man,
And there's
yikes.
this great idea that you can't fix everything. You could have gotten killed,
Yep.
because he takes his anger out by flying,
Hmm.
unauthorized. Um, and Black Hand's like, right, I'm going to kill you, basically. Um, and he doesn't. We flash back to Jack's death,
Yes.
um, having to ID the body.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh my God. Ooh.
Hal in the present sees his parents' graves.
Hmm.
Uh, and the whole idea is like, it's like, oh, you hate death. It's like, no, I just hate you. And he cuts off his hand again. But this time it's the other hand, I think.
No, no, I think it was always the right hand, wasn't it?
Well, no, this time it's the left hand.
No, it's the right
Wait,
hand. It's the right hand.
wait. Oh, is this art just like not mapped very well?
What do you mean? It's clearly his right hand. It's right fucking there.
But like, so on this page, on the panel above it, it looks like it's going to be his left hand.
No, then they just flip direction.
Yeah, but on his right hand,
His
he's
right
not
hand is
wearing a long sleeve.
his right hand is the not gloved one. His left hand is the gloved one. Hal cuts off the right one because it's not
Okay,
gloved.
so he cuts off his hand again, and then shoots him. I
Into
can't
the earth.
quite into the earth. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, and it's like I think he just stays there.
Yeah.
Um, Hammond is still in Hal's mind. Calls
Yes.
Hal his hero.
My
Which
God.
is, oh,
Fucking Hector. Like just everything he does just skews you out. Like it just oh God, stop. Like stop, please. Yeah, it's just I don't like it. Anyway, yeah, so we go over to what General Stone here.
yeah.
Uh in the aftermath of the fight. And meanwhile, Hal meets with some members of the rest of the Corps. What are they here for?
They're here to try to explain the
Oh yes, oh
German.
that's oh the German goblins.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's like apparently they had been waiting to collect the German goblins, who are not German goblins. They're it's not German. It's Krylodian. It's like, what? You think Egypt is the only place on that mud ball that stole their language from off-world? Um,
Love it. But yeah, he says next you'll be saying that Earthmen invented the match. Goodbye. I like these aliens here. They're cool. Also by their numbers you can tell that they were in the sectors nearby, so that's cool.
that's cool.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, so we go to Hector Hammond, who is who's being kept now next to the head of the Manhunter from the other 3-issue arc in
I'm
this.
curious, is it supposed to be like at Argus?
I believe so, probably.
Because Stone was talking about a government organization. I'm like, that's got to be Argus, right?
I would assume so, yeah. If not like Cadmus or something.
So, oh yeah, it could be Cadmus.
Yeah.
And again, squicky ending of just things are a little different now.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was No Fear. As a whole, I think you prefer that one a lot more, right?
Yes, I do. I think it hits just a little better.
That's fair. That's fair. I could see that. I don't think I have a preference between the two, honestly.
Yeah, not by much. It's neither of these are my favorite thing that Jeff Johns has written. That's still Aquaman the Others,
Mm.
because Aquaman the Others is really good.
That's a great choice. That's a great
Yeah.
choice.
I will say, No Fear has currently made it into my top 10 because I've been keeping a ranking of everything that we read. It just barely makes it into my top 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
You should update that like on Twitter like every 25 episodes or
Oh, my
something.
plan is to update it like once we get to the end of October.
What do you mean to like share with people?
Yeah, to share it with people to
Nice.
celebrate
Nice.
1 year of the podcast.
Oh God, we're coming up on a year soon, aren't we? Fuck.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
couple of months.
Wow, go us. Go us.
Go
We're
us.
we are 18 episodes in now. So yeah,
So yes,
yeah,
No
on a pretty
Fear.
consistent like bi-weekly schedule. Yeah.
So yeah, No Fear is, again, it's superior. I would say I recommend it. If you're gonna collect it, I think the best way to collect it is the Omnis. specifically for
The
this
omnis
one.
are really great collections.
Uh,
Especially when you get to the second volume, because the second volume is Blackest Night, and like it has the main Blackest Night event plus the Green Lantern tie-ins, and it orders them like in the order that they should go in. So that's always really nice.
that's nice. Also, apparently, though, you can also get. They've re-released this run partially, at least the first Omnis material in hardcover, like oversized almost, but that aren't full Omni length. It seems.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, book 1, book 2,
Oh,
book
that's right.
3.
Yes, I have seen those. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think like book 1 is like the 2 miniseries, and then the first 3 issues. Book 2 is something else.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because yeah, but yeah, I'd recommend this. I think it's solid. I hope the run develops a bit more next time. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it does a good job of establishing things. But now that we've established things, you gotta push things forward, Johns. Yeah, you gotta push things forward.
And he will. You will see. Yeah, so next time on Fresh Face Comics, of course, Jacob already knows this. We're covering what are the volumes of Green Lantern, volumes 2 and 3, Revenge of the Green Lanterns, and Wanted Hal Jordan. These are issues. God, I can't think of what the issue numbers are.
They are issues 7 to 20. I have it written down.
Thank you so much, Jacob. Because I wasn't going to look through the Omni just to find out. Oh, God, I just opened up to a thing in Revenge of the Green Lanterns that I'm really excited to see a reaction to.
Okay. Well,
oh man, I can't wait to see. Oh, that's gonna be so cool. Okay, yeah, I'm excited. So next time is Revenge of the Green Lanterns and Wanted Hal Jordan, and then episode 20 will be the Sinestro Corps War.
Yes, so, and then we will be moving on to something completely different.
Yeah, very exciling.
That I don't know.
You do not know, yes. So, all right, thank you all so much for listening. As always, when you while you're listening, whatever you're listening to us on, leave a rating, review, subscribe, whatever you're doing. Subscribe to Blood Donut Studios on YouTube. Especially for next week, we have something really cool coming up that I'm very excited to show you all. Yeah, Jacob actually knows about this one. You didn't know it the last time I did something like this, but yeah, you know about this one, so that'll be cool. Everything's coming together really nicely for it. So, yeah.
Thank you for all the support, especially on the last couple of episodes. Have done really well.
Yeah. Oh my God, the Teen Titans episodes did fantastic. Yeah. That first episode specifically entered our top 5 of all time.
Yeah. So, and the second one wasn't too far behind, at least on YouTube.
Yeah. It caught up a lot on the other platforms as well. Yes. So yeah, doing really, really great. Yeah, there it is. Whoa, did somebody just binge some yesterday? I just saw that. Wow. Okay, cool. Thank you to whoever that was. That means a lot. Currently New Teen Titans Volume 1 is our 3rd most listened to episode of all time.
That's good, because it's one of my favorites to record.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. Thank you all so much for listening to us as always. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.